Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Friday, October 31st, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $, ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. Happy Halloween, everyone. We have the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Toronto Blue Jays, World Series game number 6. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 to 10 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Halloween, everyone. Players in the game. It's showtime. Shohei Ohtani. And on the right, one of the best first basemen in the game, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off for the Dodgers at DH, it is Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, catching today for the Dodgers, Will Smith. Batting third, playing first base, Freddie Freeman. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, shortstop, Mookie Betts. Batting fifth, playing right field, Teoscar Hernandez. Batting sixth, playing third base, Max Muncy. Batting seventh, playing left field, Kike Hernandez. Batting eighth, playing center field, Tommy Edman. And batting ninth, welcome to the lineup, second baseman, Miguel Rojas. And on the mound for the Dodgers, the phenom, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Toronto Blue Jays. Welcome back to the lineup, DHing and leading off, George Springer. Batting second, playing left field, Nathan Lucas. Batting third, playing first base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, second baseman, Bo Bichette. Batting fifth, playing center field, Dalton Varsho. Batting sixth, catching today for the Blue Jays, Alejandro. Batting seventh, playing right field, Addison Barger. Batting eighth, playing third base, Ernie Clement. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Andres Jimenez. And on the mound for the Blue Jays will be Kevin Gausman. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday and a happy Halloween. And again, we've seen the Dodgers get dominated for a majority of this World Series. And again, I love, when the World Series can go 7 games. And normally in a situation based on how the Dodgers have played up to this point, you would assume that this game would be over, but the one saving grace that the Dodgers do have is they have probably the best pitcher at this point in the postseason, not named Trey Savage, and that is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. In his last 2 starts, he did 2 complete games. So for the Dodgers to win today, he's going to have to be lights out, more than likely pitch 8 or 9 innings, and then you're going to have to get some runs on the board. And even though the Dodgers haven't really shown that they've been able to get runs on the board, at least at home, I do assume the Dodgers will show up today. And with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, if he pitches like he did in the previous 2 games, they will be victorious. I don't think it necessarily is going to be a blowout. But again, if this was a game to follow kind of the trend, we may actually see the Dodgers Dodgers hit 4 or 5 runs today, even though that's been very difficult for them in the previous home games. And then for the Blue Jays and Kevin Gausman, if Kevin can go a solid 6 or 7 innings and the Blue Jays just continue to be the Toronto Blue Jays and they can rough up Yamamoto and get him out, in the 6th, 7th inning, and to be able to give that game up to the bullpen. But also, you have to assume if Yamamoto goes out, what direction do they go with the bullpen? Do they hit you with another starter? Do they end up going with one of the guys in the pen? Can you really trust a guy in the pen in this situation where you're potentially about to lose the World Series here in 2025? So again, I could see 2 different scenarios happening. Yamamoto gets roughed up for the very first time, and then the Toronto Blue Jays are champions here today. But just based on how Yamamoto has been pitching lately, I'm thinking the Dodgers are going to scrape it out somehow, some way, by some kind of miracle. And then I assume that we'll go back, obviously, tomorrow in Game 7. And then you would assume at that point the Blue Jays will win and they will be champions, because I don't know if the Dodgers can win back-to-back. And honestly, the only way that I could really see it in my head is that if Yamamoto were able to pitch a complete game today and pitch tomorrow for a complete game, that would give them a chance. If they had 2 Yamamotos, or if Yamamoto was able to do 2 games in a row, but we know that's not necessarily humanly possible. So again, it's definitely favoring Toronto. We'll just find out if Toronto ends up winning it today or possibly tomorrow. Dodgers' backs are against the wall. They're still in this World Series. So again, it's not impossible to think the Dodgers can win 2 in a row, but just based on how they played in this series, how bad their bullpen has been, how bad the hitting has been, how bad Mookie Betts and some of the role players and superstars have been, it just kind of feels it's almost inevitable that Toronto will win the World Series. It's just, is it going to be today or is it going to end up being tomorrow? We will find out. David in the building, what's good? Tyler in the building, what's good? Marine Bean in the building, what's good? Let's get it, baby. Mike in the building, what's good? And first pitch is going to be coming up here momentarily. Hope everyone had a fantastic early part of your Halloween. Obviously, we're going to be grinding it out and watching the World Series here. And then once the World Series Game 6 is over, I'm going to attempt to take my pup on a walk. But in my general area, we don't really have too many trick-or-treaters. So usually you'll have a few here and there, roughly around that 7 or 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock range. And then you may have some older kids, roaming around in the neighborhoods, a little bit later. But hopefully I'll be able to avoid a lot of individuals out there so I can have a peaceful walk with my pup here on this Halloween 2025. World Series game number 6 between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. We are about to get started here in just a few minutes. Toronto leads 3-2. And again, I think a lot of us Mariner fans and MLB fans are very impressed, to see what Toronto was able to do after battling Seattle in 7 games in the ALCS. We feel that we are very similar to this Toronto Blue Jay team. So maybe at the very beginning of the World Series, a lot of us were, maybe rooting for the Dodgers just because we couldn't fathom, rooting for the team that just ripped our hearts out. But as the series has progressed, I think that a lot of the Mariner fan base has flipped, as well as a lot of fans maybe across the country, thinking that, okay, if, you can go with the underdog team and then they can find a way to get it done. But based on what we've watched in the World Series, are the Blue Jays really the underdog? The underdog kind of seems like the Dodgers, especially since they've been dominated in pitching, hitting, defense, the bullpen. I mean, really the only thing that you got that they don't have, obviously we know Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman are fantastic, all right? But really the only dominant piece, that they don't have is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And again, imagine if they didn't have Yamamoto. Maybe the Blue Jays end up sweeping the Dodgers, based on what we've seen up to this point. So he's been their saving grace. Kevin Gausman isn't no slouch either. But again, there's definitely a little bit of a drop-off when you look at what Kevin does and then obviously what Yoshinobu does. So again, we will definitely see how this plays out. I am rooting for a 7-game series so we can do one more tomorrow and let the best team win. Dodgers back against the wall, have to win 2. So it's not likely that they will do that, but it's not impossible, right? And then obviously, with the Blue Jays, keep doing what you're doing. Play great offense, have confidence in your teammates. And again, it shows you can have, 3 Hall of Famers in the lineup, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to win a World Series. And again, George Springer back into the lineup. That's huge for them. And based on this World Series and in the playoffs, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the MVP in this World Series. Now, is he going to be able to come up big enough in today's game and tomorrow to end up getting that award? We will find out. First pitch, takes a strike, looking. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Let me refresh everything here because I don't think the scoreboard automatically refresh. So let me do that. And usually it does it on its own, but ESPN for you. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Ohtani back in behind the count. No balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Gausman. Great start here for Kevin on Shohei Ohtani. Megan in the building. What's good? Appreciate you. $10 dono. 90 to go to hit the goal. 0-2 pitch. Low and away with the splitter. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Appreciate you. Megan says, go Blue Jays. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 10. 90 to go to hit the dono goal. Appreciate you very much. We're at 10. 90 to hit the goal. 1-2 pitch. Low and at the knees with the splitter. 85 miles an hour off speed there by Gausman. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, I think, that has kind of been a natural thing depending on where you live and the amount of youngsters that are in neighborhoods. It definitely was more of a thing that you saw back in the day than recently. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And that's exactly how you want to start off for Kevin Gausman. A punch out on the best player in the game, Shohei Ohtani. Way to bring that electricity, Kevin. That is 1 away. Next up is catcher Will Smith. And they've been sliding Mookie down in the lineup, from 2 to 3 and now all the way to the 4. So, and obviously that doesn't necessarily mean they have confidence in him to be that power hitter. It's that the guys at the top of the order may end up getting an extra at-bat late in the game, and they would rather have Shohei, Will Smith, and Freddie Freeman hit rather than Mookie at that point. Little slow dribbler and goes foul. Top of the first inning, 0-0, Dodgers and Blue Jays, World Series game number 6. And I was trying to be able to come up with a little bit of a costume for you guys here on Halloween. I had an old school Mariner, same kind of color as the City Connect jersey, hard hat back from the Ken Griffey Jr. era. Unfortunately, based off the material, for me to wear it, front or back, like a catcher like Dan Wilson or Cal Raleigh, the lighting that I have here in the studio would have reflected off of it, and it would have been too much of a distraction. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. I have an old school mini Ken Griffey Jr. bat that I was going to rock with that hard helmet as well, maybe get a little eye strips as well, but it just couldn't come together. So I figured, we just got to go with the regular kind of outfit that we usually do with the streams. But hopefully everyone is enjoying themselves here on Halloween 2025. Bricks and Joysticks in the building. What's good? 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Will Smith. One pitch, big swing and a miss with the splitter, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gausman to Smith. And I'm kind of just rooting for the Dodgers to win today and the Blue Jays to win it all tomorrow, just so that way we can get one more stream in of baseball. That's how much I love baseball. And again, if Toronto ends up winning it today, congratulations to them. They fucking earned it. They definitely have surprised a lot of people, not just Mariner fans, but MLB fans overall. They have to be the favored team at this point, 80-20 the rest of the way. And again, even if the Dodgers win today, that doesn't mean that they're going to win tomorrow for Game 7. So, we'll see how it all plays out. And again, it really depends on Yamamoto and how long he goes. And Will Smith with the line drive back to the 10th row. Beautiful catch by that Blue Jay fan there. Almost hit him in the head, but great hand-eye coordination to get that ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Will Smith. But I would love to be able to call one more game. That's how much I love the MLB. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Will Smith. Gausman looks electric here early, taking care of Shohei Ohtani and Will Smith. Next up is Freddie Freeman. And I think that's a good decision by the Dodgers to kind of play around with the lineup a little bit. Move Freddie to the 3, move Max to the 6, and then put Tommy Edman at center field, because obviously we know they've had some issues there at that position. And then you give a chance for Miguel Rojas to come in to play some defense and possibly, get a hit for them at some point in this game. First pitch, high and inside, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. And I do like the adjustment on bringing in George Springer. Obviously, we didn't know if he would be healthy enough to go today or tomorrow, but he's leading off, and we'll see him momentarily. 0-1 pitch, or 1-0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Freddie Freeman. One pitch, big swing and a miss by Freddie. And Gausman is wheeling and dealing here early. Kevin Gausman on the mound, Freddie Freeman in the box. And can you imagine if he ends up striking out the side to start off this Game 6? I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better start if he can get one more strike here and retire the side. And he does. Big strike 3. And again, we haven't seen Kevin Gausman, come into a game and retire a side like that in a minute. Shohei, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, 2 Hall of Famers and an All-Star in Will Smith. What a fantastic start for Kevin Gausman. And let's go to the bottom of the first inning and see who's up next here for the Blue Jays. Next up for the Blue Jays, DHing, leading off. Welcome back to the lineup after all the injuries to your hip and your knee and everything in between, George Springer. Batting second, left fielder today, Nathan Lucas. And batting third, first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who has consistently played the best pretty much out of anybody on Toronto or Los Angeles, and that's even including Shohei Ohtani. Vladdy, again, if they end up winning the World Series, more than likely, Vladdy will be the MVP, and he's earned it. And I can't wait to see what he does here today and possibly tomorrow, potentially, if the Dodgers win and then they go to Game 7. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet on this Halloween stream, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. My best friend is going to go see the Blazers and the Joker in Portland for the Nuggets and Blazers matchup. So I'm a little jealous that he gets to see the Joker, but he did surprise me earlier today. He got us tickets the day before Thanksgiving to see Wemby. And I couldn't be more excited. I would rather see Wemby than the Joker anyways. I've already seen the Joker play here, in Oregon before. Fantastic player, a walking triple-double. But, Wemby, based on his 7'4" size and his incredible athleticism, never seen him before. And definitely looking forward to that particular matchup. And we'll probably make a day of it, go to the arcade, go get some food, and then hit that Blazer game up. So I'm definitely excited about that. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning. Leading off for the Blue Jays, welcome back to the lineup, George Springer. And hopefully he doesn't get hit by a pitch and has to exit the game or something of that nature. We know the Dodgers and the Mariners are not dirty teams. Just unfortunate sometimes these teams have wild pitchers, and injuries are a part of the game, and you can definitely tell when people are headhunting and trying to injure someone, or if it ends up being just an accident. First pitch from Yamamoto, right down the middle, takes a strike looking with that splitter, 0-1 count. I got Blue Jays in 7. I just don't think you're going to be able to rough up Yamamoto. I mean, he pitched 2 complete games, and he's been more lights out, even than Trey Savage. So, and we know how great Trey is, but Trey didn't pitch 2 complete games. So, again, we know the Dodgers have been bad up to this point, but you can't say that about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I mean, he's been fucking electric. So, again, and it is possible he gets roughed up today. He's human, but based on his past, games, you have to assume if he's locked in like that if they can just get a few runs, just a few, that might be enough to win today, because it might be tough, especially if he pitches the whole game. He might only give up a run, maybe 2 at the most. So that means that the Dodgers could potentially win this game with maybe as little as 3 runs. And as bad as they looked in Los Angeles, I think they could get 3. They might be able to get a home run here, a home run there, maybe an RBI here, RBI there. And it also depends on how long Gausman goes as well. So, but we obviously know the bullpen for the Dodgers is terrible, but they're planning on Yamamoto going the whole game. So something to keep in mind. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Yamamoto to Springer. Coy in the building. What's good? Two pitch, fouled off. And it seems like every swing for Springer, he's in pain. He's like wincing and whatnot. So, I mean, he's really giving it his all being out there here leading off in game 6. And thankfully for him, he's just a DH, so he doesn't have to play defense. And I don't think he could, just based on, his facial expressions and his body language. And a little slow dribbler there. Mookie Betts throws to Freddie Freeman. And that is 1 away. I assume there'll be some double plays and some pretty good defense for the Dodgers today, even though they haven't really been the greatest at D lately. Down goes George. Lots of heart for him to be out there. Next up, left fielder Nathan Lucas. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Nathan Lucas in the box. First pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. And that's one thing, if you notice when you watch, Trey Savage and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, they paint every corner and they're always in the box. You don't really see a whole lot outside of the box. That's how confident they are. And a big error there. And that one gets past Max Muncy. And that is something that is unexcusable. Great job by Nathan Lucas there, and a routine play for Max Muncy at third. But again, nerves are high. The Dodgers are usually the team that is the bully, right? They're the team that's the champ, and they're usually the better team when they go to the World Series, the favored team to win. And again, now you're down 3-2, and you're the underdog. Things have shifted. And again, that cannot happen, if you're trying to win this game, for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Unexcusable. First pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Takes a strike looking low and away with a cutter, 0-1 count. And again, Yamamoto doesn't have to pitch 3 feet off the plate, high, low, inside, outside to get you out. He's going to, be pretty confident in his abilities. He'll get you to try to chase here and there, but a majority of the pitches are going to be in the box. Pitch inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And a ground ball there, double play, throw to first, and just like that, the thing that we hate the most as Mariner fans when we hit into a double play, and all the momentum they tried to build up at that point is for nothing. So again, Yamamoto, ends up, getting out of that inning, and they haven't even listed it as an error yet. I'm on the scoring page, but we'll see if they update that to an error. Looked like an error to me, but we'll find out if they list it as one as the game goes on here. End of the first inning, 0-0, Dodgers and Blue Jays. And those are the type of situations, if you're the Blue Jays, you need to capitalize, off an error, to try to be able to get a run to come in based off the mistake. But again, easier said than done. Next up for the Dodgers here in the top of the second inning, shortstop in the 4-hole for the first time, Mookie Betts. Batting second, right fielder, former Blue Jay and Mariner, Teoscar Hernandez. And batting third baseman in the 6-hole after that error, not sure if they're going to give it to him or not, Max Muncy. And we'll see if Max can make up for it at this at-bat or at some point in the game. Appreciate you, TJ. Happy Halloween 2025, everyone. I'm not really sure if they have to play perfect baseball. Again, they can make mistakes here and there, but again, Yamamoto would have to more than likely go the entire game. And then again, if he goes the entire game and he pitches well, you would assume that means that he's only giving up 2 runs or less. And that means that the Dodgers at that point could win this game 3-2. And again, even though the bats have been terrible for them, in Los Angeles and overall in this series, again, that would mean just like 1 2-run jack and then an RBI at some point, or 2 solo dingers and then an RBI, or even just 1 home run with a 3-run jack. Even if the hits are, going to be tough to get from Gausman as well. But you would have to assume, once Gausman goes out, you might be able to get 1 or 2 on him, and you might be able to get 1 or 2 on the bullpen, depending on who they decide to bring in. And it's not like the Blue Jays are going to try to close the game out and win the World Series here in Game 6. They're not going to go with a starter and another starter. It's not like they're going to go Gausman and then go Trey Savage and try to win it today. They're going to trust the process and try to get it done today. But if they don't, they know that obviously Yamamoto can't pitch 2 complete games, but he might pitch tomorrow for some of it if they can get to Game 7. First pitch from Gausman to Betts, fouls it off right down the middle, 0-1 count. And I don't think I've seen a superstar first ballot Hall of Famer struggle as bad as Mookie Betts. 3 for 23. And again, for a guy that has been, clutched throughout his whole career, Boston and Los Angeles, it's a little alarming. But also, too, you have to give credit to the pitching for the Blue Jays. That's a big part of it as well. 0-2 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. So, again, we have a lot of these guys with Shohei and Freddie and Mookie and Will and Teoscar and Muncy, Kike. And you've noticed some of these guys have made plays here and there, but nowhere near as consistent as they normally are. And that definitely is a credit to the Toronto Blue Jays. They definitely have gotten hot and healthy at the right time besides Springer. And they've been able to really put together a great game plan against this powerhouse Dodger team with a very weak bullpen. 0-2 pitch, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, missing by a few inches there. 1 ball and 2 strikes here in the top of the second, 0-0 Dodgers and Blue Jays with nobody on and no outs. 1-2 pitch, and that one's fouled off, out of play. Mookie Betts in the box. Kevin Gausman on the mound. And Mookie with a hit ball towards third base. Ernie Clement is there. Throw to Vladdy. And that is one away. I know it's kind of crazy, but I think at one point or another, Mookie may need to try to drop a bunt down just to try to get, it's like when you're a three-point shooter, you need to get a couple layups or a couple free throws, a couple jumpers, and then work your way back out. Maybe he needs to try to bunt at some point when it makes sense, just to try to get the confidence, whether that means he gets on base or moves a guy over. Not ideal for a Mookie Betts, but it's not like anything else has been working up to this point. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. First pitch, four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour by Gausman with that heat, high and away. 0-1 count. Teoscar in the box, Gausman on the mound. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Wow. 4th strikeout there. Down goes Teoscar, and Gausman is pitching like Yoshinobu Yamamoto. My goodness. Might be a pitcher's duel. Could be a low-scoring game today. 2-1, 3-2, something of that nature. Next up, third baseman, Max Muncy. And based on the score sheet, they did not list the Muncy defensive play as an error. Yeah, and just the simple fact that they have Shane Bieber and Max Scherzer. Imagine if they didn't have those two guys. That definitely helped out, with, the other individuals they've had. And obviously Trey Savage has just been fucking amazing. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Max Muncy. And, again, us Mariner fans can hope that Cade Anderson can be the lefty version of Trey Savage next year and beyond. And there's a good possibility that that could happen. Top of the second inning, 0-0, Dodgers and Blue Jays. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. High and away, splitter by Gausman. Man, he is locked in right now. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Max Muncy. And I went back and looked at the stats, with the Blue Jay championship roster, back in the early 90s with Joe Carter, with the famous home run. And again, Paul Molitor is playing just like Vladdy as far as like clutch factor. And I went back and looked at the numbers and they're almost identical. And Molitor ended up getting the MVP for the World Series. And again, I assume Vladdy will come up big. Potentially today and tomorrow as well. 2-2 pitch, fouled off. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Kevin Gausman. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. 0-0 here early in World Series game number 6 in 2025 on Halloween. Pitch is low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Max Muncy. First time that Gausman has got himself into just a mini jam, with a 3-2 count. Nothing serious to get worried about at this point, obviously. 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And even with a 3-2 count, it doesn't faze him one bit. Kevin as lights out so far. And again, to have 4 punch outs, now what, 5? 5 punch outs within the first 2 innings. Unbelievable. Way to bring the electricity, Kevin. Pacing for 15 Ks. Wow. Nice job, Kevin. And I don't think that the Blue Jay fan base was anticipating Kevin being this good. They knew Yamamoto was going to be more than likely electric, and they were probably hoping, for Kevin to get a few punch outs, within the first 2 innings, maybe 2 or 3. But I don't think that they anticipated 5 out of 6 batters. Unbelievable. Great job by Kevin. Let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for the Blue Jays. Next up in the 4-hole, second baseman Bo Bichette. Batting second, center fielder Dalton Varsho. And batting third, catcher in the 6-hole, Alejandro Kirk. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs here on Halloween. Let's get it, baby. All right, so 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks, 32 pitches, 23 strikes, a magnificent start. And with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's only pitched 1 inning so far, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, no Ks, 12 pitches, 9 strikes. And obviously the 1 hit shouldn't have probably been a hit, but Max Muncy ended up missing it defensively. Going to the bottom of the second inning here, World Series game number 6 on Halloween 2025. Blue Jays up 3-2. And again, and they can taste the World Series championship in the pennant. It just depends, are they going to get it today or will they potentially get it tomorrow? And again, the Dodgers are still playing, so that means that they're still in it, but they're going to need a hell of a lot of things to go right and a lot of things to go wrong for the Blue Jays in these next 2 games if the Dodgers are going to be champions, and they haven't really played like a champion in this World Series. The Blue Jays are definitely more deserving, but no one is going to hand it to you. You got to take it. First pitch from Yamamoto to Bichette. Takes a strike looking high and inside, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 4-seam fastball missing by a few inches there. 96 miles an hour by Yamamoto. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bo Bichette. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Bichette. Yamamoto on the mound. Bichette in the box. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And Yamamoto doing Yamamoto things, getting a punch out there, trying to give a little bit of electricity for the Dodger fan base. And that is 1 away. Down goes Bo. Next up in the 5-hole for Toronto, center fielder Dalton Varsho. First pitch to Varsho, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. As far as I've been listening to the broadcast and all the individuals in the pre-show and the post-show and any interviews and vlogs and blogs and articles and anything on MLB.com, I haven't really heard anybody bring anything like that up based on what you're saying, but I imagine there might be some talks about it. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. Two 2-1 pitch, fouled off high and away. And that fades out of play. Nice souvenir for a fan there. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. We're in the bottom of the second inning, 0-0 Dodgers and Blue Jays, World Series game number 6, with the Blue Jays up 3-2 and only needing 1 more win between today and tomorrow to be World Series champions. 2-2 pitch and a little floater. Mookie is there. He might not be able to hit, but his defense is still going to be prime, and that is 2 away. Next up, catcher in the 6 hole for the Blue Jays, Alejandro Kirk. First pitch from Yamamoto to Kirk, takes a strike looking high and inside. Curveball off speed, 77 miles an hour by Yamamoto, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Inside with the splitter, 93 miles an hour by Yamamoto. 1 ball and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. One pitch, high and away. Right there on the line. Should have been probably a strike, but doesn't get the call. 2 balls and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. Probably the first pitch right now that was kind of debatable, right on the line. Could have been a ball, could have been a strike, but based on Yamamoto's strike zone, normally he gets that call. 2-1 pitch, low and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. Probably should be 2-2, but again, we'll see if the umping ends up being a factor. It usually always is at some point for both teams. 3-1 pitch, takes a strike looking in the exact same spot on the opposite side, and he gets a strike call there. So make it make sense. If you're going to pitch inside and you're going to be right on the line and you get the call, but then you pitch it outside, same exact location, just on the opposite side of the box, and then you don't get the call. We just want to get a little bit of consistency from these umps. We can't wait till the ABS comes into play next year. 3-2 pitch and pops up and flies out to center, and that is out number 3. With Tommy Edman playing center, which is a position he normally does not play. End of the second inning, 0-0 Dodgers and Blue Jays. Back when I was a kid, that was in the Joe Carter, Paul Molitor era. And so they won back-to-back, at that time. So in 1992 against the Braves, and then 1993, I believe, was the Phillies. But someone can, go Google and check that to see if I'm right or wrong or whatnot. But I'm pretty sure that's right. And again, so, that would be 2. And then obviously if they win here, this will be their 3rd. So it's been, obviously a little while, a long time coming, for this organization. Not as long as Seattle, of course, since we've never even been to the World Series, but, they definitely have been patiently waiting. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 3rd for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers in the 7-hole, left fielder Kike Hernandez. Batting second, playing center field in the 8-hole, Tommy Edman. And batting third, second baseman in the 9-hole, Miguel Rojas. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. For me, I don't mind when Toronto wins it if they're going to win it, whether it be today or tomorrow. But I just want one more game after today. I'm not ready for the baseball season to be over, and I would love to be able to, do one more game. And then obviously once it's over, we're going to have to wait till March. But obviously we'll have spring training and, the hype will be back at that point. And obviously for a lot of us baseball fans, we're football fans too. So see whether it's college football or the NFL, that'll carry us until February. And then we'll just have a few weeks to wait at that point, and we'll get right back into baseball. So, it definitely is going to feel like a forever, type of thing once the World Series is over. But, once we watch football, college and NFL, maybe a little NBA, NHL, WWE, NASCAR is winding down as well. We'll be back to baseball season, sooner than you know. First pitch from Gausman to Kike, low and away with the slider, 83 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Judah in the building. What's good? Happy Halloween, brother. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle with the splitter from Gausman. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kike Hernandez. And I know the Blazers and the Kraken and the Ducks and the Buccaneers are going to keep me plenty busy until we get back to Mariner season. But, I can't wait to get right back into the mix again. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. One-two pitch, low and away with that splitter. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. 2-2 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away, and down goes Kike Hernandez, and another punch out by Kevin Gausman, looking electric. I mean, it's one thing when you have Trey Savage and then Gausman looking fantastic as well. 6 Ks for Kevin. Unbelievable. Next up is center fielder Tommy Edman. Oh, absolutely. Obviously it stings, to lose to a team that might end up winning. What a line drive there by Tommy Edman. And he's going to flash all the way to second base, and he is safe. Nice job by Tommy there, getting on base. Next up is Miguel Rojas. But I don't, there might be some players and managers and coaches that might not be watching, spending time with family or doing the Halloween thing. But I would assume, there's going to be a lot of, fans of the sport in general, that are just going to be tuning in just to kind of see how it all plays out. So obviously for some people, the pain might be too much, to watch the Blue Jays and the Dodgers go at it. And they got other things that they got to worry, about, kids and, wife and, other obligations and whatnot. But I imagine there's quite a few, that are watching from the Mariner organization as well as other organizations in the MLB and other, obviously pro athletes in other sports when they're not playing. I imagine some are tuning in. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Rojas. Blue Jay in the building. What's good? I appreciate that. I think there's not a bunch that do baseball compared to football, and everyone's got their own style and whatnot. But I think, we give you the most original, than anybody else that's out there. Tries to jam the hitter there, Rojas, and that ball almost hits him. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Miguel Rojas. Appreciate you, brother. Top of the 3rd inning, 0-0 Dodgers and Blue Jays. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is low and at the knees, almost graces the dirt there. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Miguel Rojas. And again, if it's going to be a pitcher's duel, the final score could be 2-1 or 3-2. So it's not like the Dodgers need to score 5 or 10 runs to win today. If they can have Yamamoto, go the distance or pretty damn close, it might be pretty tough to get any hits on either of these pitchers for that matter. As Rojas strikes out swinging low and in the zone, and that is 2 away. Down goes Rojas, and they're going to intentionally walk Shohei Ohtani. And now you got runners at first and second for Will Smith. And again, I think if you're looking at the stats, you probably would have assumed that the numbers would be flipped, that Yamamoto might have 6-7 Ks at this point and Gausman might have 1 to 3. But again, you never know what you're going to get on any given day, not only in MLB, but just in sports in general. And again, the electricity is very high. Toronto knows that they're in the driver's seat. It's just a matter of, do they get a chance to win it today or do they got to wait till tomorrow? But even if they lose this game, it's not going to waver their confidence one bit. They're very confident that they can win it. I mean, if anyone is doubting themselves slightly, it's the Dodgers. And a 1-0 pitch, crushes it all the way back to the wall, and that's fair, and that's going to bring home a run. And I told you, just like that, and even as great as Gausman has been up to this point with 7 Ks, Will Smith coming up big, 1-0 Dodgers. And again, you may not assume a guy like Tommy Edman's going to come up big. He gets a double. Will Smith ends up getting a big double. And now we have a 1-0 score with Freddie Freeman. And it was a good decision on sliding Freddie to the 3 rather than Mookie at the 4 for these type of situations exactly. So that way, if you do have guys on base, who do you trust more with 1 out, 2 outs, or no outs with runners at second and third at this point? Freddie or Mookie? And that's a pretty simple question. Who's going to be the more desperate team? Obviously the Blue Jays are playing with house money, but they're playing confident, right? But again, the Dodgers with their backs against the wall, they know that they can win this game, but can they win game 7? That's the real thing. 0-1 pitch, low and up and ease. 1 ball and 1 strike to Freddie Freeman. I mean, I think the crazy thing is if the Dodgers win both games and they win the World Series, that might be the most shocking thing ever, just based on how they played up to this point. But again, if you're in it, anything can happen. Guys could get hot out of nowhere. And they have quite a few that have been slumping besides just Mookie Betts. 1-1 pitch. Inside with the 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Gausman. And he's not necessarily having a meltdown, but, a slight mini one possibly here. I mean, with the amount of Ks, you can't really say it's a meltdown. He's already got 7. But again, back-to-back doubles in this inning. Not obviously back-to-back with the batters, but in the same inning with 2 doubles, brings home a runner. 2-1 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Freddie Freeman. Freeman in the box. And Gausman on the mound. 3-1 pitch, and that's bases loaded. Uh-oh. Now the meltdown is starting to happen. But you got Mookie Betts, so again, you only need 1 out. And the last thing that you want is Mookie to get hot right here and hit a home run for a grand salami. If that happens, the game's over. I mean, it's not over, but if they go up 5-0, I don't think the Blue Jays will be able to come back from that because you would assume the Dodgers won't be done at that point. They'll get more. But based on, how Mookie has played, going 3 for, $1 billion, could this be the chance that he ends up turning this, game around? I mean, he's 0-13 with bases loaded, so it's more than likely he would go 0-14. But again, Mookie is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if you're the Blue Jays right here, you cannot give up the home run. And even you don't want to even give up an RBI single to make it 2-0 if you can prevent it. But we'll see if Mookie can come up in this big situation or if Gausman can end up getting a punch out here to kind of save the game at this point early in the top of the 3rd inning. Gausman on the mound, Mookie Betts in the box. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. And you got to be throwing at Mookie, not throwing low and away. I mean, you have to remember, he has been struggling. He does have 7 grand slams in his career, but he has been on a very, very big slump. 1-0 pitch, Takes a strike looking with the splitter right down the middle. Nice pitch there by Gausman. 1 ball and 1 strike with bases loaded and 2 outs. Top of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Dodgers. Yeah, Judah, my best friend, is going to go see the Joker, and hopefully the Blazers can find a way to get a win with Klingon and company. I'm definitely excited about that, and he surprised me today with tickets to go see Wemby the day before Thanksgiving. I'm super excited. Never seen Wemby before, and we'll probably hit the arcade, downtown, and also get some food before we go. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully the Blazers will get the dub here tonight. Pitch fouled off by Mookie Betts, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gausman to Betts. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let them know, TJ. And again, not just TJ. If there can be others in the room that are regulars that can help out with the people that are just watching, that'll help us get there. And Mookie with a big base hit in the left field, and that's going to potentially bring in how many? 2. And now the score is 3-0 Dodgers. And for all the people that thought the Blue Jays were easily going to win this game, like I said, I had a feeling that Yamamoto would pitch well, and I felt like the bats would finally come alive for the Dodgers. And look at that, 3-0 in the 3rd inning. Not to say that the Blue Jays can't come back from this. They could, but you have to assume the Dodgers aren't done, and this could be a game where they actually hit 5 to 10 runs and they're already at 3. Big play by Mookie Betts. And for a first ballot Hall of Famer to go 3 for $1 billion, it was just a matter of time before he actually got something good to go his way. And he brings in 2 runs with that single. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. And again, switching up the batting order was definitely very essential for the Dodgers' success here today. And it's crazy because you got to think Gausman had 7 Ks up to this point, and then all of a sudden just had a meltdown. So even when you're playing electric and you're pacing for 15 Ks, you can still have a slip up here and there. And unfortunately, that's what happened. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Wild swing there by Teoscar. That reminded me of Julio in the beginning of the year. Can't be doing that. Can't get off balance on your swing, Teoscar. They need you. No balls and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. Well, it depends on the situation. Ks can mean a lot, depending on how the game and the structure is going. The main thing is if you're getting the Ks, you can't be hitting guys and walking guys, because anytime you end up hitting guys, walking guys, intentionally walking other, players like Shohei, then that gives them an opportunity for something eventually good to happen. And Teoscar strikes out swinging, and that's going to be the 8th K for Gausman. But again, 2 walks and then an intentional, with Shohei, you got to be better. And just like that, 3-0 Dodgers. Let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and see if we can get the Blue Jays on the board with 1 or 2 runs. Next up, in the 7 hole, right fielder Addison Barger. Batting second in the 8 hole, 3rd baseman Ernie Clement. And batting 9th, shortstop Andres Jimenez. And again, the Blue Jays may need to kind of go outside the box and bunt. And even though they have been bunting pretty frequently in the World Series and in the playoffs, but you may need to really kind of find outside the box ways, because we already know how good Yamamoto is, whether he gets strikeouts or gets the defense behind him to make plays. So hopefully the Blue Jays will implement a bunt here and there, and they're hoping that Yamamoto will walk a guy, hit a guy, so that way they can get some cheap guys on base, just like the Dodgers did in that previous inning. All right, let's take a look at the stats here. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 58 pitches, 39 strikes. And it almost seems unfair for Gausman to have given up 3 runs after having 8 Ks. Like, think about when you watch baseball. When's the last time you've seen a guy give up 3 runs that had 8 Ks in the first 3 innings? It never happens, it feels like. So a little bit of bad luck there for the Blue Jay fan base. And then with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, only 1 K, but obviously some good defense behind him at this point. And based on such the low pitch count, it's pretty safe to say that, he's going to pitch a complete game today. Again, for the 3rd time in a row. First pitch, low and at the knees for Yamamoto, should be a strike, but called ball. And we've seen a few missed calls for Gausman and Yamamoto here early in the strike zone. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Addison Barger. Yamamoto on the mound, Barger in the box. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Addison Barger. One-two pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Addison Barger. And a big hit there by Addison Barger, and it bounces off the wall. Kike Hernandez misses it. It almost feels like watching Randy Arozarena playing defense out there. A very good hit ball there. And again, that's exactly what you want. Try to get as many doubles as possible. If you're not getting the big home run, you can get doubles here and doubles there. Eventually, you'll be able to chip away. And a beautiful hit there that bounces off that MasterCard sign. And then you see Kike Hernandez not really play that ball the proper way. And obviously once it, gets deflected off the wall, you never know where it's going to go. But again, nice base knock there by Addison Barger to give the Blue Jay fan base a little bit of life. Next up is 3rd baseman Ernie Clement. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1 count. 7 for 22, batting .318 in the World Series for an 8-hole hitter. That's fantastic. I feel like I said, depending on where you live, the vibe for trick-or-treaters, in most locations, it seems like even if you have kids present in the neighborhood, sometimes they just go to other locations, to, do the trick-or-treating. I mean, if you're lucky enough that you want to celebrate and hope for kids to come, but it just feels like within the last 5-10 years, it's been less and less kids, that are walking in the neighborhoods. And you may get some people that are older, trying to stay out of trouble and get candy and whatnot, kind of borderline that trick-or-treating age. But even some of those people don't do it anymore either. And down goes Ernie Clement. And that was nasty. That is 1 away. Next up is Andres Jimenez. Big swing and a miss by Ernie Clement. He's not going to do that often. Let's see if Jimenez can get an RBI here or an unexpected home run. You just don't expect to get too many home runs on Yoshinobu, but you can get some base hits here and there, and then you got to string them together in the same inning. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees to Jimenez. 2 balls and no strikes from Yamamoto to Jimenez. And again, it's not like Yamamoto really walks a lot of guys or hits a lot of guys either. But if he were to do that today, obviously that's what the Blue Jay fan base is hoping, that he has a, somewhat of a meltdown at some point in the game. But based off his pitch count, they're going to try to get him to go the full game. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike to Andres Jimenez. 2-1 pitch, high and inside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Andres Jimenez. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. Andres Jimenez in the box. Bottom of the third inning, 3-0 Dodgers. But again, for the Blue Jay fans and the fan base in general, if you lose today, that doesn't mean you're losing tomorrow and losing the World Series. You're still favored, So again, you just got to see, how this game kind of plays out, and, based on what the hitters do the rest of the way, could definitely carry over till tomorrow. But again, you might have Yoshinobu pitch half of the game tomorrow, or some of the game tomorrow. I would assume that they'll try to get him to pitch, at least a few innings. So you have to keep that in mind too for Game 7. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball. Rojas is there, and that is 2 away. And again, Rojas just got entered back in the lineup, so they don't expect a whole lot of offense from him, but defense they do. And he comes up big right there. If that ball gets past him like the ball that Muncy had, we're looking at a 3-1 score. Next up is George Springer. Let's see if George has got a little bit of magic, even though he's been hurt and he's back with the lineup. Even just a bloop single will get them a 3-1 deficit, and that's much better than being down 3-0. First pitch, high and inside by Yamamoto. Splitter off speed, 1-0 count. Happy Halloween, everyone. Bottom of the third inning, 3-0 Los Angeles. Yamamoto on the mound. George Springer, welcome back to the lineup in the box. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to George Springer. And even though, Springer has been a thorn in our side when he was on the Astros and the reason why the Mariners got eliminated here on the Blue Jays, I'm glad he's back in the lineup. I'm glad that, he has an opportunity where his injury isn't so significant where he can't play the rest of the World Series. 2-0 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and no strikes to George Springer. And that check swing, did he go around? No, he did not. Good discipline there by George. And again, they desperately need to get on the board. If they can get just one, it looks a hell of a lot better 3-1 than 3-0, especially you kind of have the feeling the Dodgers aren't done yet. I don't know if I would say I love Halloween. I would say I like it a lot, but oh, Springer in the gap. Oh my God, there we go. And George does it again. Big hit in the gap. And that brings the run home. 3-1 Blue Jays. They wish. 3-1 Dodgers, but they get on the board. Nice job, George. Next up is Nathan Lucas. And let's see if Lucas has got a little bit of magic. He hits a home run here. We're looking 3-3. Or even just getting a single and getting on base to get it to Vladdy. And we'll see if they would intentionally walk Vladdy like they did Ohtani. But there you go. I'm more of a Thanksgiving guy. That's my favorite holiday. I like Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then probably Halloween. But again, it's not like I don't enjoy Halloween. I enjoy everything about it. The movies and just the costumes and everything else. But, I'm more of a Thanksgiving guy. The food, the football, the family, that's my number one, and it has been since I was a little kid. First pitch, fouled off by Nathan Lucas, 0-1 count. Bottom of the third inning, 3-1 Dodgers, runner at first with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch, and Lucas flies out to left, and that will be out number 3. But at least they got on the board, so now you have this little back and forth, matchup here instead of the Dodgers continuing to pour it on. And again, the faster that they got to 1 or 2 after being at 0, the better chance that they have to come back in this game. Nice job. And it looks like they did finally update the scoreboard. They did give Muncy the error. I was about to say, they have to review that through, all the, replay booths and everything else. And I was kind of surprised that we didn't see the error right away. But as I'm looking on the stat pages, it's finally there. End of the third inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the fourth inning for the Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 1 with a K, third baseman Mad Max Muncy. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Kike Hernandez. And batting third, 1-for-1 with a run, center fielder today, Tommy Edman, who normally plays like second base. So again, for him to be out there in center field, they're just trying to fill in the gaps, from some of the other individuals that definitely struggled in that position. I mean, they used to have James Outman out there and obviously couldn't get it done. They don't trust Alex Call. I don't blame you. Pajes, obviously was, decent, during the regular season, but, definitely struggling just like Mookie did. And they decided to replace him, and that looks like that was the right move. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Alec in the building. What's good? Let him know. It doesn't have to be just TJ. If we can get some of the regulars, the mods, and just people that show up here on a regular basis. I mean, we got 164 in the room. I can't do it by myself. And obviously TJ would love the help. So if you are in the room, help us get those numbers up. End of the third inning. Let's go to the top of the fourth. 3-1 Dodgers. And if you're just tuning in, let's go over a quick recap on how this game started. So in the top of the third, Will Smith doubled to left. Edman scored. 1-0 Dodgers. Then Mookie Betts singles to left after being, 3 for $1 billion. And finally, with bases loaded, Betts gets a RBI. And not only does he score 1, Ohtani, he scores 2 with Will Smith, making it 3-0 Dodgers. And then here in the bottom of the third inning, George Springer coming up big with Barger on board, getting a big RBI. And that's where we sit now, 3-1 Los Angeles. First pitch for Kevin Gausman to Max Muncy. Big swing and a miss, low and away, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch in play, little slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Muncy grounds out to third and a very smooth throw to first. 1 down. Next up, 0-for-1 with a K, third baseman Kike Hernandez. Let him know, Alec. First pitch to Kike pops up, and that is 2 away. And again, the numbers are important too, because again, once you get a certain amount, you'll be able to get into the YouTube algorithm. So anyone that's looking for Dodgers, Blue Jays, baseball, we can end up getting recommended to those individuals, and that eventually will help us get more likes, more views, more subs, more donos, and more cool people that we can add to the Fanatic family. So it's not just numbers alone is the reason, just not for my own personal gain. It's going to be for all of us here. Top of the fourth inning, 3-1 Dodgers with nobody on and 2 outs. Next up is Tommy Edman. First pitch to Edman, takes a strike looking right down the middle. Splitter off speed, 83 miles an hour, 0-1 count. I mean, there's a few people that, can call a baseball game, but we definitely do it a different way here than most people on YouTube. You definitely get an original experience here, not like anybody else. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tommy Edman. And it's a great job, for Springer to come up big in that situation so that game doesn't get out of hand. It's still in reach for Toronto. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tommy Edman. And I don't know if you're going to get any home runs off Gausman or Yamamoto, but again, RBIs are going to be very, prevalent today, but you would assume at some point somebody's going to homer, and you might actually get homers from both teams at some point before it's over, but you probably have a better chance of getting a homer if you're the Dodgers than you are the Blue Jays, but anything is possible at this point. 1-2 pitch, low and away with a splitter, 85 miles an hour off speed. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning, 3-1 Dodgers here in World Series Game 6 in 2025 on Halloween. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, and that goes out of play. Sam in the building, what's good? I appreciate it. And again, you can listen to other, people call a game, but again, based on the pitch, the location, the photos, the background music, you're not going to find anything like that anywhere else. And pitch popped up, and that is out number 3 as Tommy Edman pops out to third. And again, people can call a football game in the NFL. That's why there's so many people that do it. College football as well. But again, once you start getting into something like baseball, it's definitely a lot. It's like 10 times harder to do baseball than, anything else really. Besides maybe like hockey. Hockey with the pronunciation, the enunciation. And a lot of times when you watch hockey, you can't tell who's who, unless you got a screen big enough. And now if they ended up highlighting the players like a video game, which some broadcasts do, then it would be easier, to call an NHL game. But when you can't really tell who's who, unless you're actually at the game and you got a screen right in front of you and you can see, that definitely I would agree is pretty fucking hard, But other than that, baseball, to be able to know all the ins and the outs and the terminology, it's definitely challenging. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning, 3-1 Los Angeles. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. We're at 10 on the Dono train, 90 to go to hit the goal. And we're looking to get 5 to 15 subs so that way we can hit our next goal of 23,200. Let's see who's up next here for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 4th. See if they can get another run or 2 to make this game a little bit more interesting. Next up, 0 for 1, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's been playing like an MVP, like Paul Molitor when he won the MVP back for the Blue Jays when they won with Joe Carter. Let's see what Vladdy does here. Hopefully they don't intentionally walk him. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Bo Bichette. And batting third, 0 for 1, center fielder Dalton Varsho. I appreciate you. Eight Ks for Gausman, 2 for Yamamoto, but we still have a 3-1 Dodger lead. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. You haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats, the best beats on YouTube. First pitch from Yamamoto to Vladdy. Takes a strike looking low and away with a cutter. Off speed, 91 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside. Good eye there by Vlad. 1 ball and 1 strike to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Just imagine if they would have let Vladdy walk, this season, then they wouldn't be able to experience what they're having here. So imagine the Blue Jay fan base is extremely happy they were able to get that deal done. But obviously in the past few years prior to the deal, obviously a lot of rumors, but I kind of found it hard to believe that he was leaving. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and at the knees. 1-2 pitch. And that's strike 3 right on the corner, and he is out. That is 1 away. Down goes Vladimir Guerrero Jr., striking out looking. Next up, second baseman Bo Bichette. Yeah, but again, you can't necessarily, I mean, again, I guess you can put a price on every player, but based on the money, sometimes it's more than just the money. It's about the vibe and the aura and, what that player means to an organization, and again, it's like if the Mariners were to potentially lose, Cal Raleigh or Julio, we wouldn't be the same team anymore, so again, when you have a guy that, that big, you have to make sure you get the job done. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bo Bichette. And a nice hit there by Bo towards that third baseline. Kike Hernandez gets it off the third hop and throws it into the infield, but not after. Bo with a nice single to left. And let's see if we get a little rally here for the Blue Jays. Next up is center fielder 0 for 1, Dalton Varsho. First pitch from Yamamoto to Varsho. Fouls it off low and at the knees. 0-1 count. That one gets fouled off towards that first baseline by Varsho. And again, if they can end up getting a home run with, a runner on, that'll definitely give them that Uncle Mo and that momentum to kind of spark the crowd. The crowd definitely is not as quiet as the Los Angeles crowd was for a majority of those home games. The Blue Jay fans know they're in the driver's seat, but again, they're going to need the crowd to help them, not only today, but especially tomorrow if it goes to that point. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Varsho. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. 3-1 Dodger lead here in the bottom of the 4th. Happy Halloween, everyone. One-two pitch and a slow dribbler, double play, throw to first, and got him. Wow, huge. And again, even though Yamamoto may not be pitching, with as many Ks as Kevin Gausman, but he's getting the really good defense behind him. And honestly, I'm not really that surprised. I figured Yamamoto would pitch great, go 9 innings. And again, I figured the Blue Jays would score here and there, but with the Dodgers' backs against the wall, obviously they don't play very good at home lately. And again, they have nothing to lose at this point. And, you got your best pitcher on the mound. Now, if it was, Yamamoto versus Trey Savage, then it's maybe a whole different ball game. The score might be a little bit different. But, based on, not to say that Kevin Gausman is not on that level, he's not Trey Savage. But again, he shows that, even though he had a mini meltdown, he had 8 Ks within the first couple innings. And that's pretty impressive. There's not very many guys that can get that many Ks. But again, once you end up walking a guy or intentionally walking a guy, and then you end up getting bases loaded, and then you have a guy like Mookie where you feel like you're going to get him out, and he's been 3 for $1 billion. He's been terrible. And then obviously he finally got the big RBI, and again, when you end up having a Hall of Fame player that's on a slump, you have to assume at some point they're going to get out of it, but it's just when. And he came up big in the biggest moment, and when normally in that at-bat he would fail. So 3-1 Dodgers. Let's go to the top of the 5th inning and see who's up next for Los Angeles. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Miguel Rojas. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a run, base on ball, and a K, DHing Shohei Ohtani. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run and an RBI and a K, catcher Will Smith. Let's take a look at the stats of the pitchers at this point. All right, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 3 Ks, 58 pitches, 39 strikes. So still, on pace to pitch pretty much the whole game, or at least 8 innings. And then Kevin Gausman, 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 67 pitches, 46 strikes. And if the Dodgers end up hanging on here in Game 6, we will be live tomorrow for Game 7. And at that point, let the best team win, even though the Toronto Blue Jays have looked like the better team out of the two, pretty much the whole World Series besides the Yoshinobu starts. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Rojas. Top of the 5th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Ducks might be, ranked higher, but the Huskies are pretty badass. They should be in the top 25, and again, Damon Williams could be a Heisman winner, down the road in a year or two. And Jonah Coleman is a beast. Denzel Boston is a beast at wide receiver, good O-line, good defense. I like watching the Huskies. Ducks and Huskies have a pretty good football team this year. 1-1 pitch, and Rojas flies out to right, and that is 1 away. Next up, 0 for 1 with a run, base on ball, and a K, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, the Huskies have been the most disrespected, team, that hasn't been in the top 25. Hopefully they'll be able to get up there. And it's kind of, even though I'm a Duck fan, like I watch every Husky game, again, it's like if I could choose one team to watch, besides the powerhouse teams at the top, like Ohio State, if they're playing somebody good, it's definitely watching Washington week in and week out. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Shohei Ohtani. One pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Top of the 5th inning, 3-1 Dodgers with nobody on and 1 out. Gausman on the mound, Ohtani in the box. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. One-two pitch, low and away by Gausman. Splitter, off speed, 85 miles an hour missing. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 3-1 Dodger lead. World Series game number 6 here on Halloween. Blue Jays up 3-2. And they're just down by 2 here in the top of the 5th. Two-two pitch. And that one gets fouled out of play. Nice souvenir for that Blue Jay fan there. Going to the World Series and getting a Shohei foul ball. One-man show. He's batting 300. Rest of the team, 189. Who's going to step up for the Dodgers? Yeah, and it definitely feels like it's kind of up for grabs. I mean, we know how good the Buckeyes are, offensively and defensively and special teams, and they won it last year, but there definitely feels like there's a little bit of wiggle room, that there's a chance that they may not win it again, that someone else might be able to, clip them. Indiana looks great this year. You got a few teams in the top 5 and top 10 that, have had, some moments where they were a little shaky, but again, if you look at the top 5 and top 10, there's been quite a bit of movement from the beginning of the year till now. And, it'd be interesting to see how it does play out. And Shohei fouls that one off himself, which has been a common theme in the playoffs this year. Hopefully he's okay. Tries to walk it off. Three-one pitch, fouled off, right down the middle. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei with a little dribbler towards first. Vladdy is there. Toe tap on the bag. And that is 2 away. Next up is catcher Will Smith. RBI double in the third and a run. And you have to assume at some point, a guy like Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, at one point or another, you would assume they're going to homer, whether it be today or tomorrow. It just feels like they've been getting kind of close. Now, obviously, Kevin has been pretty good up to this point, and we know Yamamoto has been pretty solid as well. But it just feels at some point in these next two games, if we go to game 7, that you're going to get a homer by one of those guys or maybe multiple guys. I mean, unless you end up getting the bomb from Shohei or Freddie, themselves, the two best hitters on the team, which could happen as well. Even though Will has been pretty fucking consistent for the most part. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Will Smith. 2-0 pitch and pops up into left field, and that is out number 3. Down goes Will, and let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning to see if the Blue Jays can get another run or two and tie this one up. Let's see who's up next here for Toronto in the bottom of the 5th inning. Next up for the Blue Jays, 0 for 1, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a run, right fielder Addison Barger. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, Ernie Clement. Marcus with a $5. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Appreciate you, Marcus. Another $5 dono on the channel. We're at 15, 85 to go to hit the goal. Appreciate you, Marcus. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be a few guys that, will be a priority. There's a few, individuals that are thinking that, it's not realistic to think that we're going to try to get Scooball for 1 year and we give up, key pieces, for that to happen. I love Scooball, but again, we're not going to waste our future for a player for 1 year, not knowing if he would even be able to make it a full year by, not getting injured and whatnot. But, re-signing Naylor, number one priority. Getting Polo re-signed would be a plus, but it's not necessarily needed. But it would be nice if we could get Naylor and Polo. You let Eugenio Suarez walk just because of the age and the money and the kind of the inconsistencies. Lots of home runs, but also a lot of strikeouts. And his defense isn't really what it used to be. Let Mitch Garver walk and Caleb Ferguson walk as well. Bring up Colt Emerson from AAA, and we still got Harry Ford and Cole Young and Ben Williamson. So we have an opportunity for some young and some vets to get meshed together, and then also trying to trade Luis Castillo, so that way that can open up Cade Anderson to be in the starting rotation next year. So there's quite a few things, but and also trying to win the AL West in back-to-back years, and then just trying to be able to, get to the point where we were this year, obviously next year. So, I assume that we'll be looking at a few different positional players in the offseason, but what we should be doing is looking at the bullpen, because obviously, just like the Dodgers getting exposed, you don't want to get exposed, late in a season with your bullpen not being able to get the job done. So, David in the building, what's good? First pitch from Yamamoto to Kirk, takes a strike looking inside, 0-1 count. And then as far as the NBA Cup, some people like NBA, some people don't really give two shits about it. But again, I don't really think the approach is going to be any different than any regular game or a mini tournament, within the regular season. You're still going to go out with the same approach, play good defense, rebound, and, put out as much effort as you can, depending on, who you're playing. Obviously, the Blazers are more defensive oriented, this year, which is nice. And, we'll see how it all kind of plays out, but I don't think necessarily a lot of strategies are going to change. You're still going to get kind of the same, type of strategy game in and game out, depending on who you're playing. one cool thing about, Rip City is that, they do a lot of full court pressing with Drew Holiday, which is something that we've never really done before. And we're starting to get some good results out of Klingon and the rest, which is really nice to see. Now, once we can get Scoot and Dame healthy down the road, then we'll be, cooking. 1-2 pitch, fouled off high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. Obviously you're still going to get certain, players that are lazy. You're going to get certain people that won't play defense and, they'll just be out there, collecting the paycheck and whatnot. But, for certain teams, there'll be a little bit more pride. But the NBA definitely, as far as like passion and pride, it's dead last. You get a lot more passion and pride from the MLB, the NFL, and the NHL than you do in the NBA. Unfortunately, a lot of entitled people over there. 2-2 pitch. That one gets crushed foul into the right field bleachers. 2 balls and 2 strikes here in the bottom of the 5th. 3-1 Dodger lead on Halloween. Yeah, huge test, against the Nuggets. The Joker is a walking triple-double, and he's so good he could get a triple-double in the first half. Like, how many guys could do that, Giannis, Wemby, the Joker, and maybe a few others, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. And hopefully my best friend, who's such a good person, he has another really good friend, the only one that he keeps up with from the high school days years ago. And he was in the hospital for a few weeks for excessive drinking and had internal bleeding. And they pretty much said, if you don't stop drinking, you're going to die. And he ended up getting released a few days ago. So my best friend decided to take him, knowing that I would be working today, to have kind of a fun day after being in the hospital for a few weeks. So shout out to my boy Justin, my best friend, doing obviously good deeds and making other people's lives a little bit better, one person at a time. And Kirk strikes out swinging, and that is 1 away. Down goes Alejandro Kirk. Next up is Addison Barger, 1 for 1 with a run. I mean, I watch the Blazers and I follow everything because this is my job. So it's like I might not watch a bunch of full games like I used to, but I'm always in the mix of what's going on, every day, based off the NBA, the NHL, the MLB, the NFL, college football, college basketball, NASCAR, on top of, boxing, UFC, and then even things like AEW and WWE. I mean, I try to be able to keep up with really everything, which is a little tough, but again, if you love it, it kind of comes second nature. 2-1 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Addison Barger. But again, for a while before the Blazers, started getting a little bit better within the last couple years, I wasn't really watching them on a regular basis like I did when I was younger. There was kind of a gap where I would watch here and there, but I wouldn't be like, dedicated. Like I wouldn't even necessarily call myself a fan, like a regular fanatic, of that team a few years ago. But once they started drafting a little bit better and showing me that they were actually committed to playing defense, and based on, most of the positive things that are going on with them other than Chauncey Billups and the scandal, it's something that I have been watching games on a regular basis the last couple years, but there was a gap. And Barger strikes out looking, and that is 2 away. But I'm not going to really watch other teams play other than my own, when I got other things I can watch. Next up is Ernie Clement, 0 for 1 with a K. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why, he's my best friend. He's just one of those people that I feel that, there's not enough of them. And that gets past Mookie Betts there, and a nice hit there by Ernie Clement. It's like I used to have a bunch of people, like acquaintances and whatnot, but you really start to learn as you get older. Once you hit 30, 35, 40, you don't have necessarily, 20, 30 people on a regular basis that you hang out with anymore, like maybe you did back in your college years or even after college. So, and first pitch to Jimenez, and he ends up popping up, and that'll leave that runner stranded at first, and that is out number 3. End of the 5th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. But again, we have a lot in common. We used to work together, on the phones, and there's a reason why I feel like I kind of have an advantage over a lot of the other streamers and YouTubers, because I did, phone sales for big companies for like 20 years of my life, for like half of the life that I've been on this earth. So to be able to, talk to different people of different race, different age, in a cutthroat type of business where if you don't hit your goals in a week or two, you're fired. That's a lot of pressure. So, and I ended up meeting him, and we've been buddies ever since. And we're both Mariner fans. We're both Duck fans. We're both Blazer fans. The only difference is I'm Bucks and he's Broncos, through the John Elway era and whatnot. But, it's really nice to be able to see your friends with a big heart, and take care of other individuals when maybe no one else would. So I hope that him and his buddy from high school have a great time tonight. And I'm hoping that they can find a way to upset the Denver Nuggets and the Joker. I know that's going to be easier said than done, but hopefully they get it done. And, Justin, I'm a big collector of sports cards and memorabilia, and I've given him, I can't even tell you how many things, over the last, 5 to 10 years. And with the amount of toys from the 80s and 90s to current, to sports cards, to magazines, to starting lineups, to McFarlane's, to Star Wars, to Ninja Turtles, to Transformers, G.I. Joe, you name it, I probably have it. At some point or another, he's probably going to end up owning my entire collection. So, when you have someone good in your life, you want to make sure that, you can reward them, for being a good human being, and he definitely is. Let's go to the top of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Let's see who's up next here for Los Angeles in the top of the 6th. Next up, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, first baseman Freddie Freeman. Batting second, 1 for 2 with 2 ribbies, Mookie Betts. That kind of seems even weird to say since he's been on such a fucking slump. And batting third, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, right fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Can we get an update on the likes with the amount of people that we have in the room? Have we hit 100 yet? We should. I mean, we're at 214 in the room. So again, if we haven't hit that number yet, I'm going to need some of you regulars in the room to be able to help us out with that. I do believe they will be signing Naylor. I don't know exactly when, but that is the number one priority for Dipoto and the Mariner fan base. Nice. Happy Halloween, Drew. Go M's. Dave in the building. What's good? We're in the top of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. And I can give everyone a quick recap if you just tuned in. So in the top of the 3rd, Will Smith doubled to left. Edman scored, 1-0 Dodgers. Betts got a single to left when there was bases loaded, and he's been like 3 for $1 billion. So no one really knew if he was going to be able to come up with a big RBI. Not only did he score Ohtani, but ended up getting Smith as well. 3-0 Dodgers in the 3rd. And then in the bottom of the 3rd, Springer came up and got a big RBI to get Addison Barger to score, and we're sitting at 3-1. So it's been kind of a pitcher's duel up to this point, and we'll see where it goes. First pitch, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count, and pops up, and that is 1 away. Down goes Freddie. Dave with a 7, appreciate you. Stacks, Rax with a little Cactus Jack, bang bang, appreciate you. Dave with a 7 on the Dono train. First pitch to Mookie Betts, takes a strike looking low and at the knees, 0-1 count. Let him know, Drew. It's okay. I'm used to people hating, or not supporting. and again, I've been doing this for 13 years. This is my 9th year, on YouTube. Next year will be 14 years and 10 years on YouTube. And I've already been full-time for 3 or 4 years. And, some people will never, donate. They'll never like, they might watch, but they're, some people, will finally come around. But again, all I can do is be the best version of myself, give you guys the best broadcast, the best beats, and we'll see where the chips fall. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mookie Betts. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gausman to Betts. And plus, if you're a person that's on YouTube that watches other people do baseball, you'll definitely notice what we do here is not like anybody else out there. They may have more subs and more people in the room, but that doesn't mean that they're better. And Betts grounds out to second, and that is 2 away. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, former Blue Jay and Mariner, Teoscar Hernandez. First pitch to Teoscar, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah, but the Nathan Lucas thing, that's like coulda, woulda, shoulda. There are so many scenarios where, just be happy if the Blue Jays win it all. Why do you have to be greedy and, Blue Jays win in 5? Can't you just be happy if the Blue Jays win in 6 or in 7? And it's like, they're good, but they're not that good where they're going to win in 5, Like, again, coulda, woulda, shoulda scenario, but again, you got to be happy with the outcome if the Blue Jays win it, regardless if it ends up being, in 6 or 7 games. You started off as, David and Goliath as the big underdog, and then halfway through the series, you turned into the favorite. So 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. And Brooks is going to end up having, his big moment as well. And we're going to continue to work together. And, he's an up-and-coming producer here in the Pacific Northwest. And we work together as well, just like my best friend Justin. And I've known him for quite some time as well, 10+ years. And, I want to make sure if we can get, support here, that I can pay it forward to him so we can get him some better software. Little dribbler, throw to first. And that is out number 3. And like I said, the new software, for all of his high-end equipment, to be able to get, new sounds and, new things for the upgrade, it's not cheap. Most of them are $200 to $300 per upgrade. So, I was hoping to be able to go in half with him because I knew he probably wouldn't be able to afford it all on his own anytime in the near future. So that way I can help him with his dreams and his goals as well. So, it's not always about, yourself. Sometimes, it's about encouraging others that actually have dreams and goals. And even with him, with his talent, he doubted himself for years. And I had to keep telling him that, out of all my friends, that I've had in that industry, with sales and whatnot, that, him and myself could actually make a name for ourselves, and not having to work a typical 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job based on our talent level and what we do. Sports for me, music for him. And finally, he's starting to really believe in himself and going to be full committed, to the dream and goal. And that really makes my heart happy. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning. 3-1 Dodgers. Next up, 1 for 2 with an RBI, DHing George Springer. Batting second, 0 for 2, left fielder Nathan Lucas. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman, one of the best in the game, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. All right, let's look at the numbers here. Yamamoto, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 Ks, 75 pitches, 51 strikes. So still on pace to go pretty much the whole way. Kevin Gausman, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. He's at 93 pitches. So you got to assume he's getting pretty close to the end based off the pitch count. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 200 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. And shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And we gained 5 subs already. 3 more subs to hit 23,200. And first pitch to George Springer, and he grounds out to the shortstop, Mookie Betts, and that is 1 away. Yeah, I did something kind of similar, Blue Jay as well, except I didn't have that many. I think I had, maybe in the 400 to 500 range, just people that I wasn't just going to have anybody be my friend and whatnot. Most of the people I used to work with or go to school with. And then I did a purge, and then I deleted like 300, and I think I'm down to like 180 something. And, just to see if anyone would actually message me, or not. And I think out of the 300 people that I purged, I think I only had 2 people, that noticed and, wanted me to, continue to add them as a quote unquote friend. But, as you get a little bit older, it's better to have just 1 or 2 really good, close friends than have 10 to 20 acquaintances that will never be there for you. Like you might have drinking buddies and whatnot, but if you're in trouble or if you need help, can you rely on any of those other individuals? And in most cases, the answer is no, and sometimes it takes some time to learn that. And it's definitely better to have a couple close, real ones, that have your back. Plus, I don't know. I'm not really a big Facebook type of guy. I like YouTube. I like Twitter/X, based on, articles and, different highlights that come up and just, interesting things that I can find on there. And I feel like Instagram has gotten so like overly sexualized, when you look through like the reels and everything, it's like, I don't know. I get for some people, they love Instagram and whatnot, but just scrolling nonstop, just based on like brain rot content, that isn't benefiting really anybody. Again, it's like, if you got dreams and goals, you got to be able to get off your phone, and you got to be able to, figure out what's important, dreams and goals, or, having brain rot and scrolling on Instagram for hours on end, which I am guilty of in the past, but not anymore. First pitch, low and away. Curveball, off speed, 1-0 count. Yamamoto on the mound, Nathan Lucas in the box. 1-0 pitch. Take strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nathan Lucas. I mean, everyone's got the freedom to do whatever they want. Like if people want to start an OnlyFans, that's a personal choice, if they want to do that. But it's kind of sad how our society has, went to that route. Like, we know AI is getting bigger and bigger and jobs are going to be lost. But I think that there's plenty of other options than that. But some people love doing that type of thing. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. But we do live in America, and you are free to do whatever you please, Pitches low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. Bottom of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. And popped up into center field. And Tommy Edman is there, who normally doesn't play center field. And that is 2 away. Next up is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Unfortunately, there's just so much more brain rot content rather than great content. There's pretty big disparity with that. But there are some amazing people that, do what they do on YouTube like myself. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And then it's just up to the viewers, to establish, does this person actually have talent in what they're doing, or are they just popular, or is there another reason why they're at the numbers that they're at, with money and popularity, Some people are good people and some people aren't. That's just plain and simple. 1-1 pitch, and Vladdy with a big hit off the wall. And a nice base knock there by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with a big double to left. Great job by Vladdy. Way to bring that electricity there for the Blue Jay fan base with 2 outs. And you have the person that you would want up next, 1 for 2 with a K. Second baseman, Bo Bichette. See if Bo can get a home run or an RBI here against Yamamoto. We're way behind the 8 ball on the likes. So if we can get some help from the regulars and the mods in the room, I mean, we had over 200 in the room at one point. We should have already hit 100 by now. $22 more to go if that's the accurate number that we're at. Bottom of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers with a runner at second, Vladdy with 2 outs. Let's see if the Blue Jays can be as dominant with 2 outs like the Mariners, or they can continue with a rally. I think when the series first started, I was too hurt by what the Blue Jays and George Springer did to the Mariners. And, I think a lot of Mariner fans were, it's a lose-lose situation, but you would probably go Dodgers. But then halfway through the series, seeing, how bad the Dodger bullpen is, and then, seeing how good the Blue Jays played, and thinking that, hey, that could be us next year. And I think a lot of people have kind of, swung their vote from the Dodgers now to the Blue Jays. It's like, it still stings that, Springer hit that 3-run blast on Bizzardo. But again, it also gives hope to Seattle Mariners and their fan base that if the Blue Jays can do it, why not us? So I think that's where most Mariner fans are sitting at this point. But again, there are probably some that, don't really want either one, and I totally get that as well. 1-1 pitch, high and inside, 2 balls and 1 strike to Bo Bichette. I mean, my dad is a Dodger fan since the 50s, but again, who is the most deserving team to win this year? And it definitely isn't the Dodgers. Sorry, Dad. The Blue Jays are the more deserving team, but again, they're not going to just lay down and give it to you. Toronto's got to earn it. And again, they have up to this point, and we'll find out if they win it today with a miraculous comeback or if they win it in Game 7 tomorrow. Let them know, Drew. But again, like I said, I can't do it by myself. It has to be not only the mods, but the regulars in the room, and again, if we can get some support, then we should be able to get to those numbers. Two pitch, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Bo Bichette. Bottom of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers with a runner at second, Vladdy with 2 outs. 3-2 pitch, and Bo pops it up out of play. Count still full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Bo Bichette. Let him know, Drew. I mean, the Mariner fan base, understands, but again, we may have some Dodger fans, Blue Jay fans, MLB fans, or, people that are not familiar with what we do here. $17 more. Let's go, baby. Ooh, almost hits him. And now you have a walk for Bo. And now you're in a good position here. Next up is Dalton Varsho. First walk in 15 innings for Yamamoto. That is special. But this is definitely a turning point if, the Blue Jays could homer here or get an RBI to kind of inch their way a little bit closer to get the game to 3-2 or 3-3. First pitch fouled off. Splitter for 90 miles an hour from Yamamoto, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. One pitch, fouled off, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. With runners at first and second and 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Dodger lead here in World Series Game 6, Toronto up 3-2 on Halloween. And shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Can't wait to see what he creates, and hopefully I'm able to help him get that new upgraded software next month, and that'll take the beats to a whole nother level. 1-2 pitch and got him. And he leaves 2 stranded. And that was a big punch out there by Yamamoto. End of the 6th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. And even though, Yamamoto hasn't, got as many Ks as Gausman, obviously has gotten some really big help defensively. And he has gotten pretty close now. Yamamoto is at 6 Ks and Gausman is at 8. So he's creeping up on him slowly but surely. And now Kevin's day is done and they're going to bring in Louis Varland. And we'll be very interested to see if Louis can pitch well. Otherwise, this game might get out of hand, with the bullpen of the Blue Jays the rest of the way. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 7th inning for the Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 2 with a K, third baseman, Mad Max Muncy. Batting second, left fielder in the 7-hole, Kike Hernandez. And batting third, center fielder in the 8-hole, Tommy Edman. Yeah. Well, the one bright side of it all, even if the Blue Jays, end up losing this game, 3-1 or 3-2, if that's what we were to get, like we said at the beginning of the stream, they're still going to be the favored team tomorrow. And again, it's not like Yamamoto is going to be able to pitch 2 complete games. I mean, if he were able to, do something like that, then you probably would be in trouble. But obviously, you might see him pitch a couple innings tomorrow if he's able to, but If the Blue Jays just continue to be the Blue Jays, I would be, pretty shocked if they don't win it in Game 7, if they don't come back here today. Based on, the pitching, the hitting, the defense, and everything in between. So it definitely feels like it's going 7, like I said at the beginning. And I know some people, predicted or wanted Toronto to win in 6. But even as bad as the Dodgers have looked at home in a majority of this series, you had to have thought, Yamamoto is lights out, and he had 2 complete games. So what made you think that he wasn't going to go for a complete game here? And you have to understand how good Yamamoto is. If he ends up pitching a complete game, that's going to be the second pitcher, in recent memory that has only done 3 complete games, in the, playoffs, World Series, since Kurt Schilling. So again, this is not something that's normal, and if it was anybody but Yamamoto pitching, Blue Jays probably win today, realistically. But we'll see how this plays out the rest of the way. Top of the 7th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. First pitch to Muncy, low and at the knees with the knuckle curve, 1-0 count. And I'm always doing the reading, behind the scenes and watching the film, to give you little tidbits of information like that they won't probably talk about in the broadcast, or they may or may not. But, it's all about the analytics and the statistics to kind of give you an idea. 1-0 pitch on the 1-1, pops up and lines out to right. Barger is there, and that is 1 away. Down goes Muncy. Next up is Kike Hernandez. First pitch from Varland. Kike with the knuckle curve takes the strike, looking high and inside. Probably should have been a ball, but called strike. 0-1 count. One pitch, fouled off with the knuckle curve, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. Top of the 7th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. (0-2) pitch with the heater, high and away. Could have been strike 3, but doesn't get the call. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. 1-2 pitch, high and inside with the slider, 91 miles an hour by Louis Varland. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 3-1 Dodger lead. (2-2) pitch, knuckle curve, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez. Kike in the box. Louis Varland on the mound. Kike crushes it towards that third baseline. Foul. Knuckle curve, 86 miles an hour by Varland. Count still full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, 1 out. 3-1 Dodger lead here in Game 6 on Halloween. Top of the 7th with 1 out. And that takes strike 3 looking. Beautiful pitch there with the 4-seam fastball. I think Kike was assuming a knuckle curve was coming, and a great punch out there for Louis Varland. And that is 2 away. Way to bring that electricity, Louis. Next up is Tommy Edman. Three subs away from 23,200. If you haven't hit that sub button yet, please do. First pitch, low and away with the changeup, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, knuckle curve, low and away by Louis Varland, missing again. 2 balls and no strikes to Tommy Edman. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss by Edman, low and at the knees with that knuckle curve. 2 balls and 1 strike from Varland to Edman. Top of the 7th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead. But this game is playing out kind of the way that I thought. I kind of thought it was going to be like a 3-2 kind of game. And, we'll see if the Blue Jays can put up another sooner than later, and to see if they have themselves a chance, but also the Dodgers could end up getting obviously more than 3 before this one's over as well, based on the decisions of the bullpen and who comes in. 2-2 pitch, missing low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Edman. And it's probably more likely the Dodgers to get a hit on the Blue Jay bullpen rather than the Blue Jays hitting something on Yamamoto. But again, I wouldn't be that worried if the Blue Jays lose this game. You're up 3-2. And Edman pops up, and that is out 3. Again, if you had anybody but, Yamamoto on the mound, even if Shohei was pitching on the mound, you probably would win today, more than likely. But again, it shows you how good Yamamoto has been, just like how great Trey Savage has been for the Blue Jays. Again, just fucking electric. And, not saying that they're unhittable, but it's pretty tough when they start getting in the, beast mode. Let's go to, and it looks like Robleski is coming in for Yamamoto. Wow. They're actually taking Yamamoto out to save him for tomorrow. Wow. Interesting decision there. So now this gives the Blue Jays a chance to be able to win it right here in these next, 3 innings. Interesting choice there. And if you're a Blue Jay fan, you have to be ecstatic, because you're already pretty much assuming you're going to game 7. But now if Yamamoto's out, the game switches now. Interesting decision. Let's look at Yoshinobu's final line. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 Ks, 96 pitches, 63 strikes. So obviously they're, wanting to use him tomorrow. And again, if they want to win the World Series, they're going to need, Yoshinobu to pitch for 3 innings minimum, probably. So we'll see if this is a bad move by Dave Roberts or not. But again, it definitely gives the Blue Jays a chance to come back and win this game 4-3. Kind of similar on what happened to the Seattle Mariners. When we were up 3-1, they hit a 3-run bomb late with Springer and they won, right? Could we get something like that here tonight? Or, an RBI here, RBI there, and then they tie it up 3-3. It goes into extra innings, and they win 4-3 in 10, 11, or 12. Please, not 18 innings, So we'll see how it goes. But it definitely is feeling like there's more of a chance now to actually win the World Series tonight, depending on if the hitters can come up big in these last 3 innings. Easier said than done, though. 0-for-2 with a K, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, right fielder Addison Barger. And batting third baseman Ernie Clement. First pitch to Robleski, to Alejandro Kirk. 94 miles an hour, high and away, 1-0 count. Robleski on the mound. Alejandro Kirk in the box. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. 1-1 pitch. Fouls that one off high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Robleski to Kirk. Bottom of the 7th, 3-1 Dodger lead. We'll see. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Alejandro Kirk, and that is 1 away. And again, we normally don't see the bullpen for the Dodgers, get a bunch of strikeouts or even outs for that matter. So we'll see how this ends up here in the bottom of the 7th. Next up for Robleski, right fielder Addison Barger. Reflecting the building. What's good? How are you? Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead. First pitch from Robleski to Barger. Takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. And a little chopper, throw to first. And got him. Miguel Rojas making some big defensive plays. That's a second one tonight, for a guy that didn't really play a lot. They went with Pajes and a few other guys, and that's a great play there. The throw was a little high, but in time, Freddie with those long legs, and that is 2 away. Next up is Ernie Clement, 1 for 2 with a K. First pitch with the sinker, high and away, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. And over the wall, and a lot of balls going to Kike. And that's a big double there with 2 outs. Nice job by Ernie Clement. Yes. Worth every penny for the Dodger organization, just like the $700 million that they already got back in year 1 for Shohei, with endorsements and everything else. Next up is Andres Jimenez. Can Andres Jimenez hit a home run here to tie the game up, or get an RBI to get this game a little bit closer to 3-2? I mean, you don't got to worry about Yamamoto anymore. So I think for the simple fact that, they ended up pulling him. I mean, obviously his pitch count was up. It's not like you're going to have Yamamoto pitch 140 pitches in a game. And obviously with a few innings to go, it probably would have been into the 120s or 130s. So like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's go, baby. First pitch to Jimenez there from Robleski. Big swing and a miss right down the middle, 0-1 count. Robleski on the mound, Jimenez in the box. Pitch fouled off towards that third base line by Jimenez. No balls and 2 strikes here in the bottom of the 7th with a runner at second, Clement, with 2 outs. Yeah, Ernie's been batting over 300 here in the World Series. He's been very consistent, getting into that 316 to 325 range. Good for him. 0-1 pitch, fouled off. 0-2 pitch, fouled off again towards that left field line. No balls and 2 strikes to Andres Jimenez and George Springer on deck. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball by Robleski, missing by inches. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at second, Clement, with 2 outs. And again, you have to assume, they want to capitalize here and in the 8th. No guarantee that something big is going to happen in the 9th, but it also depends on who's going to be in at that point for the Dodgers on the mound. 1-2 pitch, and jams him, pops it up, and out of play. Crowd is rocking there in Toronto. Toronto leads 3-2 here in Game 6 on Halloween 2025. Pitches low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Andres Jimenez. Came up with some pretty big plays against the Mariners, but not as many here against the Dodgers. Crushes that one foul. Keeping this at-bat alive. No, I mean, we're the same way. We don't really have a whole lot of kids in the neighborhood. It's more of like, big swing and a miss, and Robleski gets a strikeout on Jimenez with Clement on board at second stranded. End of the seventh, 3-1 Dodgers. No, but there's a lot more older, individuals, that live in this particular neighborhood and whatnot. So, back when I was a kid, obviously there was a lot more kids, that were in the neighborhood and in the surrounding neighborhoods. But obviously as years passed, some people ended up selling their home to someone else or had someone come in to, to rent it. And a lot of the original owners back when I was younger are not there anymore. There's a few, neighbors that when I'm on a walk with Paisley that, I'll talk to. Like I got one of my buddy's dads that still lives down in the neighborhood. And even though I don't talk to Chris anymore, obviously Chris's dad and his mom still, live in that particular house. And I'm always seeing him doing some like woodworking in the garage, and Paisley will come up and say hello and whatnot. So it's always kind of cool to be able to see one of the cool dads, in the neighborhood, that is still there and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, have the lights off, and, it just kind of depends on where you live. But, not just COVID, but I feel like trick-or-treating for some areas, it's still pretty prevalent. But for others, it's like you might see a few people here and there. And when I go walk later tonight, I might see a couple, and, young people with their parents. And then you might see some people that are a little bit older, like on the cutoff level of trick-or-treating, but, they want candy. And you might see some older kids, junior high, high school, whatnot. And then at some point, it just, nobody. So hopefully when I go out there, I won't see too many. And I just want Paisley to be relaxed when she's out there. So let's go to the top of the eighth inning and see who's up next here for the Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers in the 9-hole, 0 for 2 with a K, second baseman Miguel Rojas. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a run, base on ball, and a K, DHing Shohei Ohtani. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a run, RBI, and a K, catcher Will Smith. Marcus with another $5. Appreciate you. $5 holla. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Another $5 holla on the Dono train. Every dollar counts, baby. Appreciate you. It's top of the eighth inning. 3-1 Dodgers. And Varland to Rojas, and he pops up into right on the first pitch, and that is 1 away. Down goes Rojas. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. On deck, Will Smith. And that might be the last pitch there for Louis Varland, and they're going to go to another individual in the pen, I would assume. Let him know. Yeah, it's not raining here and whatnot, but even if it was, that wouldn't really, deter us from walking. I mean, I like that night walk the best. And they're going to be bringing in Mason Fluharty. So Louis Varland's day is done. All right, Mason Fluharty coming in here in relief. And next up is Shohei Ohtani. And I don't know if they'll intentionally walk him or if they're going to go at him or not. We'll find out here momentarily. I mean, I get it. There's always a time and a place to walk, Shohei Ohtani or Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but I want to see them make plays too. And I get it if there's a situation where there's, a couple guys on and, you have to do it. But if there's like this situation, we're in the top of the eighth, there's nobody on, there's one out. I would hope that they'll pitch to him, knowing that they could give up a single, double, triple, or home run, but they also could get him out too. So, but we'll find out what they decide to do strategy-wise here. Yeah, and unfortunately, also you get the people that are ungrateful, and if you leave like a bowl out, all it takes is one kid to be greedy, and then they just dump the whole bowl or take the bowl with them, and then it ruins it for every other kid in the neighborhood if you don't want to pass them out, 1 by 1 or 2 by 2. So it's like when I took Paisley on a walk this afternoon, I almost fight with a guy with another person with their dog off leash in a big park that is not allowed, and you get all of these entitled people that think that they can have their dog off leash, and what they don't realize, their dog might be cool with them, but you don't know how their dog is going to react to another dog or another person when they see them, and it just irritates the hell out of me. I don't even want to really say anything, but if it comes to the safety of my dog, I have to, and it just gets to a point where it's a little ridiculous, where I have to pick up my dog who's 50 to 70 pounds because I don't trust people. They ask, oh, is your dog friendly? It's like, dude, you're not coming anywhere near me. I've already had too many bad situations happen here in the last 2 years that I've lived here. 1-0 pitch, fouls it off low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I probably have picked up my dog 20 times in the last 2 years, like no lie. But also I walk, 3 times a day, 5 miles a day, 7 days a week. So I'm out there more than anybody else, besides this one neighbor that I have that's got 2 golden retrievers, and he walks more than I do. He does about 10 miles a day, on 2 long walks. I do 5 miles on 3 walks, morning, afternoon, and night. And respect to him, for him to love his 2 Goldens as much as he does, to get out there and give them the best life. Respect. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Good eye there by Shohei. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Top of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. And Shohei, all the way back to the wall. Terrible defense there by the Blue Jays. What were they thinking? They haven't really had very good position in the outfield. Like, a lot of those balls, you might have not caught them, but also on the flip side, Kike has been out of position over there in left field, kind of looking like Randy Arozarena a few times, where you're playing too shallow or too deep. And then once you think you figured it out, then the ball comes in front of you or over your head and off the wall. And we've had quite a few balls that went off the wall today. We haven't had the big home runs yet, but we have had some pretty big hits. And Will Smith is intentionally walked. I don't know if that is the best position here to do that, but. And next up is Freddie Freeman. I don't know if I really like calling that when you've got a runner at first already, and then you can get a double play, but then you decide to walk a guy, and then you got runners at first and second, which you can still get a double play, but it's still a little bit harder, and then you're going to Freddie Freeman instead of Will Smith, and again, if the Blue Jays lose because of that decision right now, then, sometimes it's those, simple decisions on walking a guy or not walking a guy. And then a lot of times that next guy, will end up making that other team pay, but we'll see if Freddie does that here or not. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Freddie Freeman. And Freeman pops it up into right field. Barger is there. And a good infield throw. And that gets a little bit away from the Blue Jays, but they find a way to pick it up for Mason Fluharty. 2 away. Explaining baseball to a 5-year-old. That would be a little difficult. 2 teams play. There's 9 innings. Whoever scores the most runs in 9 innings wins. There you go. Top of the 8th, 3-1 Dodgers, and there's 30 teams in baseball. 15 in the American League, 15 in the National League. Reflect with a 3-er. Appreciate you. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Another 3 on the Halloween Dono train. Every dollar counts. Appreciate you. I think that's probably the easiest. Now, if they're like 7 or 8 and you're like in first grade, then you can kind of, second grade, 7, 8 years old, then you can kind of go a little bit deeper, with other things. But I think for 5 years old, that's like pre-kindergarten, because kindergarten's usually like, 6 years old, pre-kindergarten 5. And then obviously first grade is usually like around 7 years old. So I think that's the best way that I could explain it. Top of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodgers, runners at first and second. And next up, Mookie Betts. And he's got an opportunity to be the hero again after, going 3 for like $1 billion. And it wasn't $1 billion. It was like 3 for 23 or 3 for, 26, something like that, right? But again, we didn't really know with bases loaded if Mookie was going to fail again or if eventually that Hall of Fame player would wake up. And a lot of these struggles for the Dodger hitters that are normally good are the Blue Jays pitchers are just awesome. You have to give them credit. It's not that, because if Mookie was going against shitty pitchers, there's no way that he's going 3 for 26 or 3 for 23. He would definitely be doing much better, but he didn't hit the grand salami, but he did get the big 2-run RBI single. And that really is the difference in the game right now, making it 3-1. So. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And I'm really proud of my best friend, Justin. Decided to take his only high school friend that he talks to the Blazer game tonight against the Nuggets and the Joker. And his friend has been in the hospital for the last 2 weeks with internal bleeding due to alcohol, over the years. And they pretty much told his friend that if you don't stop, you're going to die. And, he's been in the hospital bed for quite some time and just got out like a day or 2 ago. And obviously I have work to do here with this, World Series. So I'm really happy that he's able to bring a smile to a face that's been stuck in a hospital bed for the last few weeks. And that's what it's about, doing things for others, to put a smile on their face. Shout out to my best friend, Justin. And he actually surprised me that we have tickets to go see Wemby and the Spurs in downtown a day before Thanksgiving. I'm very excited to be able to see Wemby in person. And now we have Dominguez coming in for Mason Fluharty. First pitch from Sir Anthony Dominguez to Mookie Betts. Takes a strike looking with the sweeper. 0-1 count. Sir Anthony Dominguez on the mound. Mookie Betts in the box. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour by Sir Anthony Dominguez. 1 ball and 1 strike with runners at first and second and 2 outs. I mean, Will Smith and Mookie Betts are the ones that got the RBIs there, and Springer ended up getting the RBI for the Blue Jays. So, and you got to think the Dodgers only have 4 hits, and they got 3 runs. So it shows you how big it was. And obviously Yamamoto, pitched well. Gausman pitched pretty well until he had that mini meltdown. And again, I kind of felt like this was going to be like a 2-1, 3-2 kind of game, and that's exactly what we ended up getting. But Gausman had like 8 Ks within the first 3 innings, and he was pacing for 15 before he had that mini meltdown. 2-2 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. And you didn't get as many punch outs for Yamamoto, but he did get up to 6 before he was, taken out of the game. And he went 6 innings, not all 9. But the reason was because he was at 96 on the pitch count. So It's not like you're going to have him, pitch, 140 pitches. So 3-2 pitch. Pitch is high and inside, and that is a walk to Mookie Betts. Now you got bases loaded, and it kind of feels like the game is slipping out of the Blue Jays' hands here. They're already down 2. You can't afford to get down by any more than this, especially with 2 innings to go. 2 more opportunities in the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. First pitch from Dominguez to Teoscar, takes a strike swinging high and away, 0-1 count. Yeah, I'm proud of my buddy too, and that's why I reward him with a lot of my collection, so that way that he can end up experiencing all the, things that I have, and, whether that be, giving him, a Ken Griffey Jr. All-Star autograph ball or Julio Rodriguez rookie cards, stuff that's signed by Julio. I already have plenty of things on my own, but when you can end up, taking care of your best friend and passing along some of your collection that that won't be sold for money, then it gives me more of a reason to keep giving him more and more of my stuff as the years go on. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. But Justin is a real one. This Cal Raleigh jersey that I'm wearing here, when we ended up going to the game on the 4th of July against the Pirates, he ended up buying both of us jerseys when I didn't have enough money at the time to buy it, and how many friends, would go out of their way and spend, almost $200, on a jersey, like, let alone you have to have the finances to do it, but then actually to do it, so. And down goes Teoscar, big swing and a miss, and they get out of the jam. And they get extremely lucky there by Sir Anthony Dominguez coming up big with bases loaded. Huge. And now you just got to chip away. Try to get 1 run in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, or 2 in the 8th, or 2 in the 9th. So you have a little life. But if that RBI or home run would have happened, game over. No chance of coming back whatsoever. But now, only being down 2, there's a little bit of life, But again, if the game ends up, in a 3-1 final Dodgers, it's not like the Blue Jays can't win it all tomorrow. They're going to be the favored team to win it. So, and they got Roki Sasaki coming in now for Robleski. All right, Robleski is out. The closer, Roki Sasaki, in. And normally Roki comes in the 9th, not the 8th, but, special situation. Next up for the Blue Jays, 1 for 3 with an RBI. I mean, the hero so far for Toronto in this game to get them to the 1, George Springer. Batting second, left fielder Nathan Lucas. And batting third, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. We have to be at 100 by now. Haters can hate, but we should still be at least at that number by now. 2 more subs to go to be able to hit 23,200. I mean, there's not many streamers that are able to call a game that's not even involving their very own team. You have to take that in consideration as well. We're not biased. We're going to call it how it is, right down the middle. We're going to appreciate greatness wherever it's at. But a lot of these streamers, they can only do their team. They can't do other teams. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Bottom of the 8th, 3-1 Dodgers. Next up is George Springer. We're 2 subs away from the goal. First pitch to Springer from Sasaki. Splitter right down the middle in the zone, but gets called ball. Make it make sense. Should have been a strike. Terrible call. I don't know if that's like a little favoritism for the Blue Jays trying to get them to come back. But that should have been a strike right in the box. 1-0 pitch, high and inside to Springer. 2 balls and no strikes from Sasaki to Springer. Two-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside, and that probably should have been a ball. I'm just sick and tired of the lack of consistency with the umps. No matter who it is, no matter who's playing, it's just so fucking bad. And it has been that way for quite some time. 2-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to George Springer. Bottom of the 8th, Blue Jays down by 2, up 3-2 in the World Series here on Halloween. And they just need a little bit of a miracle here. Just chip away here a little bit in the 8th and the 9th. And Springer, wow, big base hit that gets past Freddie Freeman somehow, some way. The most improbable single you'll ever see in your life. Wow. Huge by George. I mean, the chance of that ball squeaking past Freddie Freeman at first is like, 1 in 1,000. Unbelievable. Like literally the perfect location and speed just to get past him. Unbelievable. And now the Blue Jays have a little bit more life with a runner at first with no outs. Next up is Nathan Lucas. See if they can put up a run or 2 in this inning. First pitch is low and away. 4-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour by Roki Sasaki. 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle where that first pitch was with Springer, but just give me some consistency. You throw it in the same spot, and the previous batter, it's a ball, and now you have the same spot with Lucas, and it's a strike. Come on, ump. It's like Angel Hernandez and, his methods have, carried over to all the other umps, even though he's not umping anymore. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Nathan Lucas. Bottom of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead with a runner at first, George Springer. 2-1 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Nathan Lucas. And it looks like Roki's starting to have a little mini meltdown here. And if it continues down this path, we could have a 3-2 or 3-3 game, or even a 4-3 Blue Jay victory here tonight. 3-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. And obviously, if you're the Dodgers, you need a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout to get out of this. I wouldn't really say jam because you only have a guy at first, but potentially that could be the run that helps them get a little bit closer. And Lucas pops up to center field. Tommy Edman is there. And that is 1 away. And next up, if there was ever an MVP for this World Series on the Blue Jays, you're looking at him, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I did some research early this morning to go back and look at the early 90s back-to-back champion Blue Jays, and his numbers are on par with Paul Molitor, who ended up winning the MVP back then. Everyone remembers the Joe Carter big infamous home run, but again, not a lot of people remember how great Paul Molitor was in that World Series. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside with the splitter. Should have been called ball, but they give him a strike there. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Can we get an update on where we're at on the likes? We got 264 in the room. Mods, regulars, can't do it by myself. Bottom of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodgers. Pitch is low and in the corner. Probably should have been strike 3. Doesn't get the call. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. 3-1 Dodger lead. Two-two pitch, high and inside with a splitter. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Should be closer, honestly, to 200, but, you know. But once we get to the 100, hopefully we can get, as close to 150 as possible. But it's got to be a team effort. And that is a big ball 4. And this is exactly how the Blue Jays wanted to draw it up, with a runner at first and second with 1 out, with Bo Bichette in the box, 1 for 2 with a base on ball and a K. Teammates since single A. That's awesome. Bichette and Vladdy. And you knew the team was going to get better when Springer left the Astros and joined the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead with a runner at first and second with 1 out. Bo Bichette in the box. Can he make history? And again, if Bo were to hit a home run here, they probably wouldn't be looking back at any point. It would probably be, Blue Jays winning the World Series tonight if, you were able to get something similar to the George Springer 3-run homer when we were up 3-1. But does Bo have it in him? We will find out. First pitch, low and away. Splitter, missing 85 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Sasaki on the mound, Bichette in the box. One-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Roki Sasaki to Bo Bichette. Happy Halloween. World Series game number 6. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers up 3-1. Blue Jays lead the series 3-2. And Bo pops it up. And Mookie with a big play there and a quick throw to Muncy at third. And that is 2 away. That was a huge play by Mookie Betts. Down goes Bo. Next up is Dalton Varsho. And if you're the Blue Jays here, you don't necessarily need to get it to be 3-3 right now, but you do need to get it to a minimum of 3-2. So that way you're only down by 1 in the 9th. But, obviously, best case scenario, you get 2 or 3 where you tie it up or you go up 4-3 and you go up 1 in this inning. But let's see if they actually can, pull this out here with 2 outs. There's not very many teams that are better than the Mariners with 2 outs. And we'll see if they're able to get a little bit of magic here in the bottom of the 8th in Toronto. First pitch, big swing and a miss as it gets away from Will Smith momentarily. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch from Sasaki, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Into the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. And we just hit the sub goal. Now we only need 100 to get to 23,300. Shout out to the 10-15 subs that we've acquired here today. Appreciate you. 2-1 pitch. And a hit. Ball right to Miguel Rojas. And that is out number 3. And they get themselves out of the jam. And again, that has been kind of a rotating story, whether it be, the starter, with Yamamoto, Robleski, or Sasaki. There's been many, many chances for the Blue Jays to be able to, get it to 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, but they just have not been able to get the job done in the biggest moments here in Game 6. Not to say that they won't do it tomorrow in Game 7. They'll have one more opportunity to try to get the 2 runs or 3 runs, either to tie or win. And Toronto's got 7 hits. The Dodgers only have 4, so again, but the difference is the Dodgers have 3 runs off the 4 hits, and the Blue Jays only have 1. And another thing, we haven't had the big monster home run at all today, and again, based on the great pitching that we've had, it was definitely a pitcher's duel, and there just hasn't been a moment for a home run, and we're kind of getting down to the wire now for that magic to happen. Will we get a late homer here in the top of the 9th or bottom of the 9th? We will find out. Top of the 9th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead here in World Series game number 6. Let's see who's up next here for the Dodgers. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, third baseman Max Muncy. Batting second, left fielder Kike Hernandez. And batting third, center fielder in the 8-hole, Tommy Edman. Got to earn it. It's just like the Mariners. Sometimes things are not going to be easy, for certain teams. Sometimes you're going to have to take it to Game 5 in 15 innings. Sometimes you got to take it to Game 7 in the ALCS. And it just is fitting. If the Blue Jays do win it, they win it in 7. And they have been the better team overall in this World Series. But the Dodgers are not going to lay down and give it to you. They won the championship last year. They are the champs. So, again, they're trying to go back-to-back, even though they haven't performed like a team that looks like they're going back-to-back. So, again, you wouldn't really want it any other way. Obviously you can go, the easy way out, but guess what? Life isn't easy, and again, sometimes you really have to go the distance to be able to make your dreams come true. Top of the 9th inning, 3-1 Dodger lead on Halloween, World Series game number 6. Blue Jays up 3-2. And we'll see what we have here next. And they got Chris Bassett in the game for the Blue Jays. First pitch takes a strike looking to Muncy. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Muncy. No balls and 2 strikes from Chris Bassett. Bassett on the mound. Muncy in the box. And obviously, if you're the Blue Jays, you can't let them score anymore. 2 is the max, based on what you would need here in the bottom of the 9th. If it goes to 3 or 4, forget about it. We're going to have game 7. But again, there is a small chance, that they could end up tying it up or winning it in regulation. We've seen it happen in the past, but will it happen here? But it definitely feels like it's going 7 games. 0-2 pitch fouled off right down the middle with that sinker by Bassett. No balls and 2 strikes to Max Muncy. And based on, how amazing the 2025 season was for many, many teams, including Seattle, having it finish with a 7-game World Series would be fitting. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Muncy. Nice pitch by Chris Bassett off that 4-seam fastball. See ya. And that is 1 away. Next up is Kike Hernandez. First pitch, low and away with the curveball, off speed, 72 miles an hour by Bassett. 1 ball and no strikes to Kike Hernandez. .1-0 pitch fouled off and out of play by Kike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kike Hernandez. And normally I don't see Kike Hernandez kind of out of position, but this game kind of reminded me of Randy Arozarena in left field. It wasn't really, terrible fielding off ground balls like Randy typically does, but just being out of position, for a lot of those hard hit balls by the Blue Jay players. And some of them could have been avoided, if he was not as shallow or as deep on some of those big plays. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bassett to Kike Hernandez. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And Bassett is coming up big here late, and that is 2 away, bringing a little bit of electricity here for the Blue Jay fan base. Last but not least, potentially the last batter here for the Dodgers in the top of the 9th with 2 outs. 1 for 3 with a run, Tommy Edman, who's done a great job in center field where he normally plays second base. So, Pages, obviously, couldn't cut it. Alex Cole couldn't cut it. And bringing in Miguel Rojas was a good move. He's not going to get you a bunch of hits, but his defense was pretty good today. Made 2 big plays earlier in the game. And Edman slashes it and foul. Nicest athlete or celeb. Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr., Sandy Koufax. All of them were incredibly respectful and nice. Ken Griffey Jr. was shy, when I met him, when he was like 19, 20 years old when I was 7, when I met him in first grade and whatnot in his rookie year. And Ken Griffey Sr. was a really chill dude and very cool. And Sandy Koufax was very respectable, kind of private, but a very cool individual to meet. And I met him in 92. So I was lucky enough to meet those 3 people, between 7 and 10 years old. And, when you have memories like that, from 5 to 12 years old, everything is cool. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tommy Edman. And a little slow dribbler goes past Bassett's face, throw to first, and that is out number 3. Yeah, but I'll never forget it, man. Being that little kid and following Griffey in the minors and then meeting him when I was 7 years old in first grade in 1989, and knowing that he was more than likely going to be a Hall of Famer and was going to put the Pacific Northwest on his back. I can't explain to you how cool it was to be that close to Ken Griffey Jr., and nobody at my school ever, had memories like this. So this was something that a lot of people were kind of jealous. And then obviously my dad grew up in LA and Hawaii and has been a Dodger fan since the 50s. And then here is Baby O-Dog with the fro. That was the style back then, in the 1990s. And this was 1992 when I'm 10. And Sandy Koufax, what a true gentleman and a gem. And I'm glad that obviously both of these guys are still around, including my dad. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th inning and see who is up next here for the Blue Jays. Yeah, nobody in my school met Sandy Koufax either. So those are two things that I was able to kind of have as memories that others, wish that they maybe have had that memory as well. And again, if I didn't meet Ken Griffey Jr. at 7 and Sandy Koufax at 10, maybe I'm not doing this channel today. Maybe I'm doing something like Brooks and I'm doing music, or maybe I'm doing video games, which is probably more likely. Maybe I'm a streamer doing video games as a secondary thing. But I always love sports. And, when you end up having memories made that early in your life, it definitely shapes you forever. Next up here in the bottom of the 9th, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, right fielder Addison Barger. And batting third, third baseman Ernie Clement. Oh, I definitely had the afro. I mean, when I, all of my photos, growing up when I was younger, I got some of them in the studio here and whatnot, but if this game goes into game 7, I'll end up pulling up and sharing, and reflecting seeing the photo and whatnot. But again, a lot of people don't really start getting into sports until 7, 8, 9, 10, but I was already in it at 3 years old. And there's a photo of me on my birthday with a wiffle ball bat and a wiffle ball posing, like Ken Griffey Jr. when I was 3. So, I'm definitely, started a little bit earlier than most, and again, baseball has been a big part of my life. And, to be 43 and to be, in this for about 40 years, I wouldn't trade it for anything. 0-1 pitch, fouls that one off into right field. No balls and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. And they got Glass now warming up in the pen. 0-2 pitch. And he hits him. Wow. Hopefully Alejandro Kirk is okay. That was a surprising pitch there. I don't think any of us anticipated that. Splitter that gets away and clearly gets him on the top of the hand. I hope he's okay. On an 0-2 pitch, that probably would have led to an out, but now you got a runner on first with no outs. And that's why baseball is, so amazing. You just never know, what might happen, and again, when a game looks like it's over, sometimes it's not, sometimes you got to expect the unexpected. Bam Bam Barger up next. Justin Dean is in center field there, now filling in for Tommy Edman. And you got Barger in the box, and then you got the guy that you really want up out of everyone in the lineup, Ernie Clement. First pitch, crushes it foul, out of play. Fastball, 98 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And they have Miles Straw running for Kirk, which is a smart decision as well. Bottom of the 9th, 3-1 Dodger lead with a runner at first and no outs. Pitches low and away with a splitter. 1 ball and 1 strike to Addison Barger. On deck is Ernie Clement, who's 2 for 3 today. And pops it up. And that is out of play. Good effort there by Mookie and Kike, but there just was no room. You're not going to see a Derek Jeter type of play into the crowd when it's, 3 rows in. Bottom of the 9th, 3-1 Dodger lead with a runner at first and no outs. World Series game number 6. Blue Jays up 3-2 in the series here on Halloween 2025. And let's see if the Blue Jays can win their first World Series since the early 90s. This would be their 3rd after going back-to-back 92-93. And if not, and the Dodgers win, we'll be doing World Series Game 7 here on the channel tomorrow. 1-2 pitch. High and away with a splitter. 86 miles an hour by Roki Sasaki. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Addison Barger. Two pitch. And that is hit hard into center field. Off the wall. Oh my. Wow. Dead ball. And runners are at second and third. Blue Jay fans are going wild, not realizing what the call was. But again, now they do have a little bit more life. And you end up having the best player in this position to be up other than George Springer or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Ernie Clement. Wow. And again, so many hard hit balls to the wall. We haven't had any home runs yet. But again, huge. Runners now at second and third and no outs. And there's a good chance that they could, not only tie this game up, they might be able to win it here in the bottom of the 9th. A big ground rule double there. And again, it might have been a mistake on, bringing, Dean in for Tommy Edman there. Would have Tommy been able to make a better play? But again, a lot of the outfielders have either been playing too deep or too shallow based off the situation. And a lot of the big hits, you've seen the outfielders on both teams playing a little too shallow. And, if they were a little bit further back, maybe they would have been able to make a play off the wall on at least one on each team. But you got to give each team credit, grinding out every at-bat, every situation. And now you got runners at second and third with no outs. And again, this Blue Jay team is resilient. All right, Roki is done. And now they're going to bring in Tyler Glass now. All right, Tyler Glass now coming in. And in the box with no outs with the runners at second and third. 2 for 3 with a K, Ernie Clement. What a World Series. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 150 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Looks like we're at 107, 93 to go to get to 200. All right, 107 likes, 93 to goal. Let's go. And we just hit 23,200 subs on the channel. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, please do. All right, Tyler Glass now coming in. Bottom of the ninth, 3-1 lead. Runners at second and third, no outs. And first pitch by Ernie Clement, he pops it up, and that's the last thing that you wanted, is a quick out there, and that is one away. Big mistake there by Ernie. And again, he has been so clutch in the World Series, you know, being an above 300 hitter. Big brain fart there by Ernie. Should have worked the count. Next up is Andres Jimenez, who's 0 for 3. And then obviously, if you're the Dodgers, you're praying that you get a double play here to end the game. First pitch to Jimenez, high and away, 1-0 count. Let him know, Reflect. Especially in that situation with runners at second and third and, you know, no outs. You didn't really expect Ernie to hit a home run, but you get a big, oh, what a catch by Kike. Oh, double play. Oh, double play, game over. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, my. Kike Hernandez with the head on a swivel, throw to second base, and they're going to review this, but that might be game over right there. Holy cow. Final score, Dodgers 3, Blue Jays 1. Let's look, caught. Wow. Oh my God. And it shows you how unpredictable baseball can be. Are you kidding me? I got him. Wow, double play. He got him. He got him. And that's it. We're going to game 7. Wow. I don't know if I've seen a final like that in a minute. I mean, we've seen some crazy things as Mariner fans, you know, with our team, you know, but for a team that had runners at second and third with no outs, and then you get Ernie to, you know, not even work the count, and then, you know, just bad luck based on where that ball was hit. And Jimenez gets that double play, and Barger a little bit too off second, and wow. Unbelievable finish there. And now the Dodgers are going to carry in a little bit of momentum going into game 7. Unbelievable. But again, I kind of figured it was going to go 7 games, and looks like we were right. Unbelievable. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. And I can't wait to see what kind of magic we get in game 7. And you still got to think, you know, the series still favors Toronto, because you're not going to get Yamamoto for the full game, you know, and it will come down to pitching and defense. Can't wait to be able to see. So I did make a thumbnail in advance already, so I'm ready to go for tomorrow. So it looks like we'll be live tomorrow for game 7, and that'll be at 5 o'clock Pacific, and I can't wait. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do on your way out. And it shows you how unpredictable baseball can be. Enjoy the rest of your guys' Halloween. I'm going to go take my pup on a walk here momentarily. And again, Blue Jay fans, it's not over yet. Dodger fans, it's not over yet. And it's going to come down to game 7. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Shout out to all the people that like, sub, donated, commented, shared with Megan, Dave, Reflect, as well as you know who you are, coming up big in the clutch as well. Appreciate you. And again, I just can't believe the way that game ended. Shout out to Marcus as well, coming up big. TJ and the rest. Appreciate you. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Final score, Dodgers 3, Blue Jays 1. And we are going to Game 7 now with the series tied up 3-3. Happy Halloween. Love you guys and I appreciate you guys. And I'm out. Gang.